Cigarettes and blindfolds, as a Morgan would say.
Grind don't stop. 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 Grind don't stop.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chewed Gum.
Grind don't stop.
I'm Alyssa. Hi, Taylor. How's it going? Oh, wait, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. You're frozen, but we can hear you.
I feel like I'm crashing out, but I guess it's just gonna keep freezing like this. Hopefully, you guys can hear me perfectly fine, and it's okay. And I'm sure you'll see some very funny faces of me.
Yeah, today is a little bit of a crash out day in general. It's been a hell of a day.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy that we're here. This always makes me feel better. Chewed gum always makes me feel better. Today is January 20th. It is Tuesday. And this is a show about rejecting purity culture, challenging misogyny, and the effects of religious trauma on women. We have a really fun little prompt today that's already bringing us some really fun calls. So I think today will be a good show. And if you want to call in, you can call in at 720-619-2288 or through the web link in the description below. And as a reminder, super chats of $5 or more will be read at the end of the show. And that's what I got. You're scratching your head in this still right now.
Not someone in the chat saying strike a pose.
Yeah. I know. At this point, you're gonna have to do that the entire show.
This is
Just making a pose.
Yeah, it's
so
fine.
funny.
It's so fine.
So the biggest threat being Christian nationalism. The reason, you're live.
For now.
Yeah.
I tried to toggle it off and back on.
Okay, cool. Oh my God, it's already done. Okay.
Well, the reason that I wanted to make that the title of the show today is because that clip of Andrew Tate, Marlon from fucking Fresh and Fit, Nick Fuentes. Have you seen this clip of them at the club in Miami?
I saw a picture of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, talk about like a, what is it? Nightmare blunt rotation.
Oh my God. Literally. 100% nightmare blunt rotation. 100%. Oh my God. But even like, I was looking at all the girls at that table with them, And I was like, first of all, you all should be ashamed of yourselves. Second of all, I hope you all made it
Yeah.
home safely. Like
No, literally.
I really hope that is literally
And
like, do you know how I would stand in that group if I were like at that table at that club like this the whole
yeah,
time?
covering your drink.
Ain't no fucking way.
Weren't they dressed up like superheroes or something? Or what? They had on costumes, or am I tripping? I saw some picture
I
and
don't
it
think so.
maybe they just did it for some kind of picture, or I don't know. Who freaking knows? But
I saw Nick Fuentes wearing his like whole suit and tie situation, which honestly just makes him look like a dweeb.
I know I didn't realize how small he is, which like who cares? But also you're always talking like you're some kind of I don't know.
Yeah, like he's 6'10".
Yeah,
Relax.
exactly. Yeah.
Uh,
That is a really nightmarish group of people. Holy shit.
yeah, and also for those of you who have not seen, in that little clip that's been circulating, that group of men, and there's some other like alt-right influencers and stuff, content creators who are in that group, they were dancing and singing along to HH, which is I don't know if you can even
H.
say this on like on YouTube, but it's like HEIL Hitler. Can you say that? That feels like a slur. I don't really want to say that. I don't really want
What? Oh, I
an
thought we could say it. I think I've said that a lot before.
yeah, I said it on the podcast. I just am like I'm so worried someone's gonna clip that one day and be like, "You said it." Well, whatever. Anyway, yeah, they were singing and dancing along. They also were saying the N-word over and over again. Like it was just you look so terrified in this room.
So I know I'm gonna be stuck in so many different bad positions. I'm so irritated. I'm trying to like move stuff around and like get it to do something because this is ridiculous. But yeah, I'm gonna be caught in some awful positions.
That is
Nobody be
so
taking
funny.
screenshots or else. That's
Or
all.
else. Out of respect.
Yeah,
Everyone,
exactly.
please, please. Um, yeah, that this face is actually the atheist mechanic said Taylor's face is accurate to this bit.
I
Yeah,
did see that.
yes, it is. It is. I could
That's
not
facts.
believe. Part of me was like, well, duh. And the other part of me was like, I actually can't believe what I'm seeing. These people don't care at all about being called Nazis because they are
No.
Nazis.
No, yeah, exactly. They really don't care. And they'll try it. The only time they pretend like they care is when people, kind of use it in arguments as to why, their party is corrupt. And then all of a sudden they're like, you shouldn't say that because it contributes to violent rhetoric and all of that stuff. I'm like, but you don't, but I think they do it on purpose a lot of the times where they are kind of like rage baiting people, but then when you actually confront them about it, they just deny it.
Yeah. Um, but it's also like I don't know how much it's rage bait because there are things that they say that are also like in support of that ideology, specifically Nick Fuentes, who has said literal like like he has expressed that he feels that white people
Mm-hmm.
are superior. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think they are trying to rage bait when they do things like go to the club and they sing along to that song and whatever. But in reality, they also it's like if it walks like a fucking duck and it
Mm-hmm.
quacks like a duck, it's a Nazi. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
And
Um,
I just
and and Myron Gain trying to be in that space with a bunch of like white supremacists is just so interesting to me because I'm like, they do hate you. Like I don't know. It's very bizarre to watch.
yeah, I know. I would like to be more surprised. I really
Right.
would. Um, but anyways, we have some callers who are waiting and we do prioritize theists on this show. So we're gonna take the theist call first. If you do want to call in, please make sure you get your call in the queue now because our lines are filling up quickly, which I love to see. Are you, hold on a second. Okay. Are you ready to take this call? Sorry, I was like looking at one of the callers and I was like, I feel like I've had this conversation really, really recently and I couldn't tell if it was the same person, but I don't think it
Yeah, I'm
is.
ready.
All right. Okay. Let's pull Marlon in, who's calling from the Philippines. He is our theist, our
Hi,
first theist this evening. Hi, Marlon.
how are you?
Good.
Alyssa, right?
Yes. Yes.
Alyssa
How are
and
you?
Taylor.
Yes.
How are you? How are you too?
We're
Good.
good. How are
Oh,
you?
it's a beautiful weather today. 8 a.m. in the Philippines. You two should go on vacation in the Philippines sometime. Yeah, we
Maybe
have
I
very
should be so
beautiful
lucky one
beaches
day.
here. You know. So basically, I would like to have a discussion, and I'm going to make the case that the Bible should be taught in all schools, and that it can help the students learn ethics, and it's good for their education, since the Bible teaches core principles like love and love God with your whole being and love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's Matthew 22:37 to 39. It says about forgiveness, love your enemies, Matthew 6:14 to 15. Compassion and mercy, be merciful and help the less fortunate. That's Luke 6:36 and Matthew 31 to 46. Justice and mercy, prioritize justice, mercy, and faithfulness. That's Matthew 23:23. It talks about a life of compassion and service to others,
Why?
serving others. Love thy neighbor, serve others humbly and sacrifice, not seeking power. That's John 13 to 14 to 15 and Matthew 25. What do y'all think about this? Talks about living righteously, pursue love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. That's Galatians
And
5:22 to 23. Yes.
and you think those things in the Bible are why we should put them in schools?
I mean, the Bible teaches a good thing, so I think it would help the students, to learn to
You
be
don't
more
you don't
ethical
think that
and
can come from
practice
anywhere else?
empathy to others.
Marlon,
Could you please repeat that?
do you think that these values don't come from anywhere else? Like you really need a set of rules from the Bible specifically to tell you not to kill someone else or sleep with someone's wife. Like why can't we just share those messages without it being attached to an entire religion?
Well, I mean, from that experience, that's what I was taught. I went to a Catholic school when I was in kindergarten up to like elementary, middle school, and high school. That's what I've seen around me and with the people around me. That's why Filipinos are the
So
most kindest people in the whole world.
and that's
Kindest
great, but we also
Filipinos are
we
the kindest and happiest people.
in the
Yes.
United States though, we are having a huge wave of Christian nationalism where we've had the Bible brought into our government and into our culture more, in a more significant way than we've seen in a really long time, at least more explicitly than we've seen in a really long time. And we have some of the most unsafe, economically challenging, like state of the world right now. This is Trump's America is one that is a Christian nationalist country, and it is failing. And it's creating, like, we have people in the United States who are incredibly violent in the name of the Bible. So why would we put anything religious into a classroom, knowing full well that, especially in this country, we have many different religions that are practiced here? So what are we supposed to do about people who are in a public school who are Jewish or Muslim or whatever, and they go to school and there's the Bible in there? Would you feel like it would be appropriate to see passages of the Quran in classrooms?
like like for me, what I'm seeing is that the Bible is the truth, and the God of the Bible is the one true God, because of the connections between the other religions. That
Yeah, but
the
you're
Bible
allowed to
connects
practice.
Christianity to Judaism to the Islam to Quran.
So why can we not put something in classrooms that is explicitly the Quran and not the Bible?
I, I I'm okay. I'm okay with with teaching the Quran in schools. I don't have a problem with it. Just like when I made the argument to, like, I think, godless engineer, I said that I wanted the Ten Commandments to be displayed everywhere, and it's okay. It's not hurting anyone. It's just there, right? It's just like a monument.
But we
No.
don't.
Why can't
We
we just have why can't we just have religions class where we learn about religions factually and we learn about all different kinds of religions and keep it at that? Why do we have to put it in other spaces where it doesn't belong?
like like teach the Bible in religion class. Like,
Yeah, I mean, just like learn about, like, if there was a religions
I
class, you
mean,
would just learn factual information about it. I mean, you
I
wouldn't be
I,
teaching kids God is real.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I mean, there are good things in the Bible that you atheists agree with too, right? I mean, there are some things we can agree on, and we can
Sure,
get
but
along.
though there's
And
much more in the Bible that I do not agree with. I also don't align with the behavior of people who call themselves Christian much of the time. And so I would feel tremendously uncomfortable with the Ten Commandments being in the classroom because it's not a religious space. And you can make a set of rules for how these students are meant to conduct their socializing with each other that has nothing to do with the Bible. Why does it have to be the Ten Commandments? Why can't it just be a list of treat others the way you would
Marlon,
like
is
to
your
be
phone
treated?
in a dryer right now? What are you doing? It is
like,
so loud.
I'm sorry. I live near the road, like near the city. You probably just heard a
We hear
motorcycle,
typing.
Yeah, it's like typing.
pass by. So
We
I
hear we hear typing, Marlon.
I apologize for that.
Okay, no problem.
I was typing on the keyboard. I'm on my computer right now.
Okay, the
So
typing is very loud,
basically, like,
but yeah. So I would like to know why we can't just have
let's talk about,
a
like,
why can't we just have a regular set of code of conduct? This is how we can be respectful towards each other in the classroom. Why does it have to be based in the Bible? That makes no sense to me. It's so unnecessary.
I mean, I do agree with you that biblical lessons can be taught in, like, religion class, along with other religions and cultures and traditions and beliefs. I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. Yes, I do agree that the Christian nationalism in the United States, it's gone to extremist levels. I agree with you on that. Guys. I was going to ask about the Ten Commandments. What are the things you guys disagree with in the Ten Commandments?
First of all, the first 5 parts of the 10 Commandments are just about a specific god's ego, about how you shouldn't put anything above this specific god. So the first 5 are pretty much useless for people who do not believe in that god. And then the I believe the 10th one, where the original verse was about coveting your neighbor's wife and donkey. Would we teach that to children? It doesn't make any sense. It's just outdated. It's obviously outdated, and more than half of it doesn't apply to people who don't believe in the religion.
Okay, I was going to add. You said something about like the first 5 commandments, right?
Say it again.
The first 5 commandments. You were talking about the first 5 commandments earlier, that you
Yes.
said they are useless. I mean, those are just church rules. Those are rules
Exactly.
for the Christians
Exactly.
to follow in church.
So
or
then
the
why would we put this in a
religion.
classroom? It's not a church. It's not a church. So why are we talking about that's like if I went into a classroom and I said, these are the rules that I have at home and I just want to put them on the wall in this classroom. Why would we ever do that? That makes no sense. Like that would be like if I went into a classroom and I said, when I take dance classes, I have to change into my dance shoes and I have to put on a leotard. And so I would just like there to be a list of rules stuck on the classroom wall that say, when you go to dance class, you need a leotard and you need to, like, we're not in dance class. We don't, they shouldn't be there.
I remember now that I was talking to this I was talking about this to like Owen Morgan and Godless Engineer, and I said I would argue that the 10 Commandments can be put there as art. I would argue that they can be a monument, that they should be put up ever to inspire people to do good and be good people and be
But
to have empathy for others.
Wait, but
The first
number
5
one,
commandments can be just religious
number one, we don't
Yes.
need those things to have empathy. But number 2, there's a reason why we have separation of church and state. If you start putting things in classrooms that cater to a specific group of people, what impact do you think that's going to have on other people? Don't you think there's going to be a us versus them mentality? Don't you think there's going to be people feeling isolated? Don't you think there's people that are going to get bullied for not believing? Don't you think all of these things would happen if classrooms were catering to one specific religion?
Wait, are we talking about the Bible or the 10 Commandments
Putting
monument? I was
both the
referring
Bible in the classroom or the 10 Commandments displayed in classrooms.
I was talking about the 10 Commandments being displayed out
Yeah, that still applies. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
near the mall. That's fine, right?
No, I don't think it's fine. I explained why I
It's-
don't think it's fine.
There's just no reason.
But
There's no
it can
reason.
be a
This is a
decorative
school.
item,
This is a
like-
school. This is a school. And if you want to learn about religion, then you learn about religion by choice in a religion class, or like we do like Sunday school here. You go to Sunday school and then you learn about the Bible. In school,
I mean-
where all religions are present and welcome to be there, because we do not have a national religion in the United States. We're not supposed to. All religions are welcome here. And so you go to a public school and you learn about math and literature and science and whatever. You don't learn about religion because that is a faith. That is faith-based. Everything else that we learn in school is based on fact, not faith. So
I mean,
don't.
correct me if I'm wrong, but like United States was founded by Christians, right? The
It was
Christian
not.
settlers from Europe. They were on the ship called the Mayflower, and they set up this James town. It's the first settlement when in the 1600s when like
When when we
religious people were being persecuted, they came to the United
when
States
when the United
for
States
a
was
new life.
founded, when the United States was founded, many people came here for freedom of religion, so they could practice any religion that they wanted to. That was the purpose, and our founding fathers made that very clear. Our founding fathers also made it clear that this country is not to have a national religion and that it is not based in a belief of God. I was just thinking about this earlier. There was a quote that I can't remember. I'll find it for you though.
I was saying that the Christians were the people that were on the Mayflower, the English merchant ship famous for carrying the pilgrims from England to the New World in 1620. Those were Christians. Right?
It
Correct me if
doesn't
I'm
it
wrong.
doesn't ma-
So
it doesn't matter when this country was founded. It was founded on the belief that anyone can practice any religion that they would like to without being persecuted. That was the point. So even if some of the people who
Right.
came here were Christian, it doesn't matter. The purpose of them coming here is so that anyone could practice any religion that they wanted to. So why would we start putting the Bible and Christianity in public schools to make every other religion that we have present here not feel welcome and not feel as important? The purpose of this country was to create freedom, including religious freedom.
I mean,
And and
like
when I look
just to
at
be
when
clear, I just
we have quotes from
just
many of the people who founded this country, the men who signed the Declaration of Independence, who said over and over again that religion and faith do not have a place in the law of the United States. James Madison said it, Thomas Jefferson said it, George Washington said it, Ben Franklin said it, Thomas Paine said it, John Adams said it. These are all the people who founded the United States. And they all said explicitly that this is not a country that should have. Actually, one of the exact quotes I'm looking at right now: "Christian neither is nor ever was part of the common law." Thomas Jefferson.
Marlon, let's say they
oh,
did really want us to have a Christian nation. I don't even care. I don't care. They had slaves too. So I don't like if a majority of people want a free country, don't you think separation of church and state is just something we should strive for?
like separation and of church and state. I mean,
What?
you're talking about the separation of church and state, right?
Yep.
Ah, I mean, I don't have a problem with any other religion. Just as I said earlier, I don't have a problem if the Quran or like the Hindi teachings or other religions are taught alongside the Bible in a religion class. I'm all for equality. I don't have a problem with it. If even outside, if godless engineer even told me that if I he was asking if I would have a problem putting the satanic commandments besides the Ten Commandments plaque. I said I don't have a problem with it. I just wanted everyone to be happy and to love each other and to have a great day and to
Yeah,
be kind to others.
Marla, you might not care
Right.
about that, but I promise you a bunch of Christian parents will throw a fit. So don't you think it's easier to just separate the two and say we're neutral on this topic, we're not promoting any religion? To me that makes the most sense and would cause the least amount of conflict.
Like for example, with the Ten Commandments, you can teach the kids, right, it's wrong to lie, it's wrong to kill,
We don't need the Bible for
it's
that. We
wrong
don't need the
to
Bible for that.
kill
We
something.
We don't need
there's
the
no
Ten Commandments
reason.
for that.
We don't need the Bible for that.
When the Bible says thou shalt not commit adultery, it, I, it's wrong
Marlon,
to cheat
you
on
really
your
needed,
wife.
you needed the Bible to tell you that for you to know that that's not the right thing to do.
Uh,
You think that
I'm sorry
people needed to be told that they shouldn't kill each other for them to understand that that's not the right thing to do.
this is what the Catholic nuns and priests told me. I mean, I
Well,
I
they
grew
told
up
you
in
wrong.
a Catholic school and a Catholic community.
I understand,
No,
but if you're making, but
I,
if you're having this conversation with us, you have to reach beyond the explanation of, well, this is what I was told, because you have to have a reason to believe this beyond this is just what I was told. Like
I,
that is not
I,
an acceptable answer in this conversation.
I never met an atheist before in the Philippines. I've always grew up with Christians and Muslims and other religious people. I haven't I haven't met an atheist or I live in this
Well,
country or anywhere it is. It's, since the Philippines is a
well, now
deeply
you've met
religious
two of
country,
them. Now you've met two of them. Marlon, we're gonna let you
yeah,
go
yes.
because we have some other calls we want to get to, and we want to make sure we get to them.
Can I just
Kind of
ask one more thing? I was
sure.
going to ask if you guys believe that Thanksgiving and Christmas are Christian holidays. Is that a
No.
Christian celebration in the
No,
United States?
Thanksgiving is not a Christian holiday for sure. I think that Christmas, it was meant to be a Christian holiday, but now, since
It's really
we,
whatever you want it to
yes,
be.
now it's cultural. Like since we decided to make it,
It's a capitalist
capitalistic,
holiday.
yeah, the second that they started to make, Santa Claus part of the Macy's window display, I think it was no longer a Christian holiday. And I think now it's become a consumerist holiday.
I
And Thanksgiving was
I
never a
thought
Christian holiday.
Thanksgiving was for thanking God.
No, no.
I had that impression. Thanks for clearing that up. Thank you. Hey, thank you
Uh,
guys. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
Marlon.
you.
Have a good
Have a
night.
good one.
Okay. And as people are rightfully uh discussing in the comments, Christmas was a pagan holiday, which period it was Yuletide. Um and Christians took that too. Boy, they love to take, don't they?
Yes. That's why they're good at colonization.
Yeah, real good at it. All right. Well, we have another theist who is on hold, and responding directly to the prompt in the title. So let's pull in
Hey.
Ruby. That's a cool name. Hi,
Hello.
Ruby.
It's going okay.
Hello.
How are
Hi.
you?
How's it going?
Good.
It's going pretty good. Just got off work and I saw you guys' show and I was like, wow, it's actually I was talking to some people about. I'm not a Christian, so I don't have any advantage directly to say that I support Christian nationalism or anything like that. But I do not think it is the biggest threat, as you said there. I think it's something that is a misdirection. I think maybe the 1930s, 1940s, when you had fascism and stuff like that, like, the old school fascism, where, I think back then Christianity was like the worst, like a very bad influence. Like the church has a very bad influence on countries. But right now, I really think the biggest threat to, because I like, just to let you know first, I don't like religion telling me what to do. I don't like, the Christians telling me what to do, like how I should live my life or whatever. And I think I should live my life without that. However, I think that we live kind of in a quasi-secular state, with a lot of Christian influences, good, bad, right, or wrong. I don't I'm not saying it should be that way, but it is. But I think the biggest threat to democracy in the West is Islam, to be completely honest with you. If you look in Europe used to be way more secular than us.
Wait.
And,
are Muslims the one right now trying to like change laws in government in the name of their religion to benefit their belief systems? Like, are Muslims the one who took away abortion rights?
I can give you some examples. Yeah. One
in
is
this
in
country,
Montgomery County, Maryland. They wanted to change. I'm sorry.
I would love some examples. Yeah, specific to the U.S. Sorry, continue.
Absolutely. If you look at Montgomery County, Maryland, for example, not majority Muslim county, Muslims are way more, the statistics bear this out, Muslims are way more mobilized and proactive. They wanted to pull their kids out of school. They didn't like the fact that the school was teaching basically tolerance of LGBT and things like that. And that was the big court case. It went to the federal court system. It wasn't Christians. If you can look up, the majority of the people were Muslims.
Wait a second.
Christians are doing that. Christians are doing that on
right
a
now.
National level.
And like banning books.
They're doing this exact thing on a national level.
Right.
So why
so
would
if you don't like
this
what you
one
have
little
now,
niche,
wait and see what's coming.
This one little niche community has Muslims pulling their kids, pulling their kids out of school to do something else.
Let me give you an example of what that will
wait, hold on. Before you do, Ruby, hold on a second. Because on this point specifically, I just want to, before we move on, the difference I think too is this is a country where you are welcome to do whatever you would like. So if you don't like what your kid is being taught in school, you are welcome to pull them out and put them in a different school. What you are not welcome to do is to, on a national level, require that LGBTQ conversations are not to be had, books are to be banned in public schools, etc. If you have a specific
that's what they wanted.
Beliefs, but that's what Christians are doing right now.
Well, the entire reason it's the biggest threat is because they have the most influence. Do you understand what I'm saying? If Islam had the greatest influence over this country, then that would be the biggest threat. It's because Christian nationalists have the biggest, like the most amount of power.
So what I agree with that, but the issue is that if you can look at the subtle difference, is that this is an area where most people are not Muslim. Most of the local communities you're talking about where Christians are trying to take over the school boards like that, those are majority Christian areas.
That's how they got their influence. That's how they got their influence. That's how they got their power. Yeah, that's how that works. I think we understand that.
I also don't really, that doesn't change the fact that we have a president who has a spiritual advisor as part of his staff who is a well-known televangelist grifter. Like who says
saying no to Trump is like saying no to God. That's what she says. And you don't think that's a threat? I think that's a threat.
Well, I'll give you an example of why I'm more leery of Islam at the moment, because as people become more secular, Islam's coming in to fill the void in a certain way. Let me give you the best example.
Wait. I have a really quick question about what you said before, because you're conflating Muslims and like secular people, but you just said that there were Muslims who didn't want anything to do with LGBTQ in their schools. So which is it? Are they conservative or are they secular?
No, they are conservative. They're secular.
Okay, so then why
I didn't mean to say.
Why would Islam be filling in the gaps?
Well, for example, in England, they're ahead of us in this as far as. Let me give you the best example of what I'm talking about. Let's say you go up to some Christian nationalists, right, doing their whatever they do. You come up to them, you go to the dollar store or wherever, you buy yourself a big King James Bible, and you go up to them, and they're just chilling, doing whatever they're doing. You put that thing on the ground, you put some lighter fluid on it, and you light that thing up, right? They're going to be, what are you doing? What the hell? Whatever. You know, they might cuss at you or something. But when you go home that night, you're going to be able to sleep knowing probably nothing's going to happen to you. Okay. Scenario number 2. You go to Birmingham, England, 30% Muslim population. You
I don't want to talk about
take
England.
A Quran
Yeah, we're
and
talking
burn
about
it
the
in
biggest
city
threat to
square.
America.
You know what's going to happen when you
I
go to
don't
bed
wanna
that
talk
night.
about-
You are going to have a serious threat on your life.
Okay, first of all, I don't really want to do hypotheticals, but if you want to do hypotheticals, do you know who
It's not
calls themselves
hypothetical.
Christians?
It's not hypothetical. People.
Do you want to call,
people
you're
have
giving me a
died. A lot
hypothetical
of
right
people died
now.
doing this.
You're giving me a hypothetical right now. And do you know who calls themselves Christians?
No, it actually
The
happened.
KKK. They do all of their work in the name of the Bible. So, like, if you want to talk about extremist groups, we could talk about extremist groups all day long. But that's not why Christian nationalism is a problem
believe in
here.
freedom of speech.
Christian nationalism is a
anyone should be able
problem.
to do
Okay, I'm muting you for a second because you won't stop talking while I'm already talking. Christian nationalism is a problem because we are seeing it on a national scale. That is the problem. And a really wonderful example of how it's not Islam is when Zoran Mamdani was campaigning and won. Everyone was so scared. All of a sudden, the whole city is going to be Islamic. What are you? That makes no sense. And there was not global. Well, I guess maybe there was national fear around Zoran Mamdani becoming the mayor of New York. Do you think that there is national fear around any of these fuck-ass Christians who are all in office? No, there's not. No one gives a fuck because we have Christians who routinely run on being Christian. Politicians who run on being Christian because that helps their campaign. Taylor, do you have anything to say before I unmute him?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if the big issue here is we're talking about the United States. If you want to make some case for a different country, go ahead. I'm not interested because I don't even have the information to have those conversations. What I do know is happening here is that Christian nationalists are the biggest threat. And the reason for that is they have the most power and they have the most influence. You can make this argument that you think Muslims are worse or for whatever reason, but they don't have the same influence. They don't have the same power here. Therefore, they are not the threat. Their thing is not the threat. It's the ones who have the power. It's the ones who are in office. It's the ones who are making laws surrounding their religion right now and are threatening to keep doing it. So I don't know why you're bringing up Muslims when, like, you can talk about other countries if you want, but that wasn't the discussion.
Okay, I'm gonna unmute you now, Ruby. Hold on.
Okay, so are you familiar with Salman Rushdie?
No.
Is he
Charlie
Hebdo?
No. Are these Muslim people?
No, these are people who were killed just because they say something blasphemous. Charlie Hebdo, I don't know how to explain. Like, most people know who Charlie Hebdo. I mean, they killed the entire staff of the newspaper.
We're going back to where
I feel like I'm talking to someone that hasn't looked at the news or something.
Well, I think that we look at very different news. So, okay, I'm sorry.
What I'm saying is that if there's certain things you can't do, is what I'm trying to say. And if you do them, are you talking
about a shooting that happened in France in January 2015?
Salman Rushdie is happening in America.
The other one, Charlie Hebdo.
Yeah, that's just one example.
Okay,
they demanded
Ruby, you're talking about something that happened 11 years ago, and you're telling me that I don't read the news? I do read the news, but the news that's happening in 2026, not in 2050. That's history. That's not news.
All right, there's people that, like, just last year, someone got killed in Norway for burning a Quran.
Oh my gosh.
England.
How many people
Norway, in England? We're talking about the United States. Jesus.
How many people do you think are impacted by Christian
none
nationalism?
Of that's ever going to happen here.
How many people do you think are negatively affected by Christian nationalism versus Islam in the United States?
I think that Christian nationalism is much more widespread than Islam, but is less potent.
how can
Okay,
you?
so we could go all day that this is worse, or this group of people is worse, or this type of fundamentalism was worse. It doesn't change what we said, that Christian nationalism is the biggest threat to the United States, because it is. You can like sit there and make arguments that
Like what?
I think other people are worse. That doesn't matter. They're not the ones with
So
power.
when
So we also, a good example of this too, Ruby, is there are ideologies that are related to Christianity that have affected the laws that are being passed in the United States now. So abortion bans, that's a big one. And because of abortion bans, we have had many women who should have been able to get health care and were not able to do so. And and their lives were in danger. Like the best example of this is Adriana Smith, who was dead on arrival and was kept alive to save this baby, who now is on life support and has been on life support and is going to have a terrible quality of life. We kept this poor woman alive to incubate this baby. And there are hundreds of excess infant deaths because they were not allowed to have abortion care. So this is not only leading to the women who are carrying those babies to be put in a really dangerous healthcare situation, but the infants also experiencing excess deaths as a result. That is the result of a Christian policy. Because why is that why is that value a part of our system and our laws here? That has not. Your religious belief should have nothing to do with the health care that we receive in the United States, and yet it does, even though it leads to death. So you can pull out these little examples, these individual people here and there, but I can do it based on a policy and a law that is spread over the United States that has led to death.
So you think that abortion policy is specific to Christianity and not other religions too?
She didn't say that. She didn't say that. They're the ones influencing the laws, though. We do know that for a fact. They are the main people influencing those laws. We know that. We're not saying that there aren't Muslims out there that are also against it. Nobody's making that argument.
That's also here, but here's the thing. It's a conservative value, and the conservatives in the United States are not conservative Muslims. The Republicans, the conservatives, are all conservative Christians. They are not Muslim. And Ruby, it feels like you're like punking me, because if a conservative Muslim tried to run for office, especially as a Republican, in the United States, people would be so insanely You saw it with Mamdani. We just saw it with Mamdani. He would never get elected.
Mamdani's not really barely Muslim, and as far as
okay, he's barely Muslim.
He's just not fundamentalist. That's it. He's not conservative.
And he's not conservative. He's not conservative. He's not conservative. Ruby, stop. He is not conservative, as you just pointed out, and people were still terrified, horrified. We're gonna have the whole city of Manhattan is gonna be an Islamic state, and he's not conservative. But we have conservative Christians who are in office who pass legislation that actively affect the lives of the people of the country that we live in, states that we live in.
I mean, for purposes of this discussion, I'm not talking about people like Mamdani who have a secular, basically a secular ethic in which they, run their lives. He just happens to come. His grandparents just happen to follow Islam, and he kind of does.
He follows Islam.
That's not what I'm talking about.
He was sworn into office on a Quran. He follows that religion.
He's not really taught.
Can you tell me one? Can you tell me one Muslim fundamentalist that we have in our government right now? Since there's such a threat, can you name a single person?
So that's what I'm trying to say. You are focused more on who's in the government, and I'm saying that there's a lot of power that comes about. Most of these people who died trying to express their freedom of speech didn't die by the government killing them. They died by people who thought that it was their God-given right to kill them because they were doing illegal speech, doing blasphemy. As far as I can tell, Christian nationalists don't generally do that. I know you can bring some.
No, they just fuck people up other ways and not as directly. But what does that matter? If they are the ones with the most power and most, hold on. If they are the one, so you're just saying you value that over like a woman dying because she needed an abortion, she couldn't get one, or you're saying you're valuing that over, I don't know, someone like Joel Webbin who says that we need to be God's avengers and people need to go be part of ICE and beat the shit out of people and kill them. Like, what? Like,
okay, that's
I don't give a shit.
Nationalism. That's not the same thing as Christian nationalism.
Yes, it is. That's what it's built on. That's why it's such a freaking problem.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. Two different things.
Ruby,
why do you think? Wait, hold on.
You're creating all these qualifiers.
Why do you think? Huh? I want you to answer this question. Why do you think that most Black conservative Christians vote Democrat? Why do you think that is?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know the data on any of this.
Okay. You don't think it has anything to do with the white nationalism going on and how they treat people who aren't white?
Well, also a lot of Black people live in urban areas where conservative people generally register as Democrat when they're running for office because you can't get elected either way. So it's kind of hard to really
Ruby.
Accurately.
You're basically like sidestepping everything that we're saying. You're like, we're telling you one thing and you're like, well, actually that's not even. It's just like, have you heard of the no true Scotsman fallacy? Because that's what you're doing over and over again. Well, they're not actually conservative. They're actually
there's what I'm trying to say is there's very real consequences to blaspheming Islam that you do not get with Christianity. It just happens to be there's more of them here.
Wait, so
it's the only difference.
You caring about that very specific thing doesn't matter to me at all because I care about more because I care about the harm being done overall to more people. I care about the general public. I don't care about some case that happened 10 years ago. Is that bad? Is that awful? Yes. But what is happening right now? What is impacting most people right now?
What about Melissa Hortman? She was killed June of last year. And the man who is accused of killing her was tied to Christian nationalism. We know that. Then, So what about that? We have a perfect example right there.
You're telling me that antidote?
What?
This is not what I'm telling you is not just an antidote. I'm saying if you actually do that.
I'm muting you for a second because you've got to be fucking kidding me. Because what we've done is given you examples on a broad scale, on a national scale, and then you come back with a fuck ass anecdote, many times not even based in the United States. Then I'm going to give you an anecdote because you've been giving me anecdotes, and now you're like, well, that's just an anecdote. Be so fucking serious. Really? At this point, I actually, I don't feel like you're being honest in this conversation. I think that you are determined to not concede when you actually have no reason to believe that that is true. You honestly think that if someone in the United States, if two different people, one person burned a Quran, one person burned a Bible, which one do you think is honestly going to make the headline? I'm unmuting you right now. Which one do you think is going to make the headline?
Between someone who burns a Bible and burns a Quran?
Yes.
That's already been demonstrated. Someone who burns a Quran will make the headline.
You are so fucking dishonest. It's unbelievable.
I'm not.
It's
you can
unbelievable.
Look it up.
You're out of your fucking mind. You genuinely are.
You're just saying, oh my word. You're not giving me any evidence, and I've given you plenty.
You literally, the entirety of what you have said has been made up. It's been made up. Give me exactly the example of when the Quran was burned and something happened in the United States. I swear to God, if you give me an example that is in a different country, I'm hanging up on you right away. In the United States, give me an example of where a Quran was burnt and then there was violence as a result.
I'd have to look it up, but I know that my point is that what we're having in America now is just a few decades behind what's going on in Europe. That's my
You
point.
made that
And if you don't
up.
care about, if
We
you're
have
like
Christian
Europe doesn't matter,
nationalists.
then
We have Christian nationalists in our government at this very moment, right now, not years in the future, right now. So you're projecting that one day Islam will be a big threat on the United States when we currently, in this moment,
And we don't have a
Christian
single Muslim person in office.
Exactly.
Like,
we have Mamdani, and that
okay,
caused
so-
waves of fear for the
analogy
mayor
is not
of New
parallel,
York.
though. The analogy is not parallel. It's not parallel because in Europe is basically controlled by secularist
We aren't talking
people
about
We're
who
Europe.
not
control the
talking
government.
about goddamn Europe. I'm talking about the United States.
No, I get that. I get that. I'm
You
just
don't,
saying,
because you
you're
continue
saying
to bring
that,
up Europe
okay, in
over
the
and over
United-
again. You don't get that.
What you don't get is I'm not talking about people that are in the government. That's not what does this. That stuff happening in Europe is not because Muslims are taking over the government in France or something. These are just regular people that are killing other people. That's
Okay, give me the actual example that you're talking
I
about.
also have a question. So one of the biggest issues that people have, obviously, with Christian nationalism is that they don't want separation of church and state. Do you think all of a sudden people will change their minds if it's a Muslim in office? All of a sudden they're going to be like, actually, we don't care if there's a separation of church and state. I'm confused how you think they can gain influence like that. It's not going to be from the Christians. It's not going to be from people who are more liberal or left leaning. So where is all this support going to come from?
not all power and all influence comes from legitimate means. It's not just because the government is imposing things on you that makes things happen. There are illegitimate things.
I'm sorry,
if you live in
Ruvi.
a country that has
Ruvi, do you know Pam Bondi directed the FBI to start investigating anti-Christianity as a terrorist act? Okay, so on a national scale, anti-Christianity is going to be viewed as terrorism in a country where we're supposed. Ruvi, I swear to God, if you keep talking while I'm talking, I'm going to drop you. It's not that hard. I know there's a delay, but I don't think there's that much of a delay on our call. Pam Bondi directed the FBI to start investigating anti-Christianity as terrorism. This is a country that is supposed to have religious freedom. And if you are anti-Christian, that is terrorism. So you're telling me that an individual person who is going to hypothetically, in this made-up hypothetical, because you won't give me a literal example, a person who burned a Quran and then the community was upset and there was violence against this person. I've never heard of this. And I can guarantee you, with how insane we are in the US about Muslim people and how quickly we like to be prejudiced against them, it would have been fucking national headlines. You're telling me this made up thing happened, but I'm telling you that I know for a fact that on a national scale, if you are anti-Christian, which means if I just say Christianity creates, negative whatever the hell in our communities in the United States, that what I just said could be viewed as terrorism. And you think the one individual instance that allegedly happened is posing a greater threat than Pam Bondi telling the FBI that anti-Christian rhetoric is terrorism.
I also do want to know the answer as to, if you're saying this is only a couple decades away, I think you said, which is the most insane shit I've ever heard. But again, I want you to answer my question of, where is all the support coming from to put someone like that in office and have that much control like the Christian nationalists do? Because you have to have a decent amount of them, obviously. And you didn't answer that question. Can you tell me where all the support is going to come from?
I'm not making a claim that people are doing this by legitimate authority. I'm saying if you live in an area that has a significant... I'm sorry?
Are you saying they're just going to take over? What's the argument?
No. You know how the mafia works. They don't let themselves into power. They give you threats and then they do stuff to you.
Ruby,
what happens
you do not live
if
in the
you.
real world. You think you
I do.
Do you think
You
more
think
people?
the
You think
I do.
more
Islamic
people?
Unfortunately, I do.
You think more people
Islamic
are going to
people.
care about a gang than their president and their entire government?
I don't think you understand. I don't know. I don't think you've ever lived in a Muslim country or understand how this works. Like where we're a secular
We don't live in a Muslim country
where,
now. That's
where
my
most people are
point.
Muslim.
We don't live in a Muslim country right now. That's my point. We live in a Christian nationalist country right now, in this very moment. You have made up that there is an Islamic mafia. The mob is going to come out in a couple of years, and
I
they're going
didn't
to just
say that. That's why I didn't want
over.
to use that word because
But like Ruby, the
what I'm
examples you're
trying to
giving,
say is
like truthfully, I know like we're joking and we're like negging on each other, but like truthfully, you can see the Christian nationalism that is happening right now. So it makes sense to feel more threatened by the things that are tangible. I see it. It's happening right before our eyes. Anti-Christianity is going to be viewed as a terrorist threat or whatever. It's going to be viewed as terrorism. Your claim doesn't make sense because it's based on a hypothetical that we do not know will come to the United States and will likely not, because this has been a country that has been that has Christianity in its roots since its impotence. So why would all of us, especially when we have a recent example of someone who ran for office who is Muslim, and this was a huge problem. It was not accepted.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If
are you familiar with who Richard Dawkins is?
Yes.
Who? Richard Dawson?
Dawkins.
Dawkins.
Do you know who Richard Dawkins is?
Yeah. Yep.
You are.
Yep.
Taylor does.
Richard Dawkins,
born 1941.
I'm sorry.
Is this a man who was born, who's a British evolutionary biologist born in 1941? Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, he was the one that wrote the book, The God Delusion. He was a very popular atheist writer. I'm not an atheist, by the way, but I'm just saying he has a very strong reason to be a secularist. And he's in England, and he's saying now that he regrets the fact that England is becoming less Christian because of what's happening next. It's more what's coming to the rise now is way more insidious than what they had before.
Okay, so
and now he's even saying that he's culturally Christian. This is what's going to happen. It's inevitable.
I don't care. He's not my leader. He's not my God. But on top of that, are you telling us we just have to pick our favorite flavor of nationalism? We can't have a separation of church and state. Like we can't strive to have a secular country because that's what people are striving for. They don't want religion forced on them, period. It's not, we just don't want Christianity forced on us. They don't want religion forced on them, period. That's the entire issue. You can exchange or a different religion to Christian, whatever. It's the separation of church and state. So to me, I have no idea why it would matter if it was a Muslim or a Christian. And you can argue that you think a Muslim in office would be worse, but that doesn't matter because the entire point of why I have an issue with it still remains. It would always still remain, is what I'm fighting for. And what I think the biggest threat is the religion that has the most influence, the most power over the United States now. And that could change if the religion changed, but it would be the same issue.
So I happen to, like, I can just tell you, I myself am a religious minority myself, right? And I happen to know that the Christian nationalism we have in America is way, way less of a threat than it was, say, even 70 years ago, where they had laws that said people of my religion can't live in certain neighborhoods. This was something that's not there. It's the type of thing that they're calling Christian nationalism today is basically just people who happen to be Christian who want to institute conservative values. That's all it is. It's not the same thing. I don't get Christian nationalism in the 1950s and 40s. It's not.
I don't give a fuck if those people are really Christians or not in office. They're using Christian nationalism to restrict people's rights. That's the entire issue. I don't like give a shit what Christians did in the past. I don't care. Like, it's important to know that stuff, but what am I going to be like, oh, Christian nationalism isn't a problem because at one point I think they were worse. Nobody thinks like that for good reason.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we have to be pragmatic. That's what I'm saying. And in politics, you can never be idealistic. If you're idealistic in politics, you never get anything you want done. You never do. You can keep your ideals.
Bullshit.
If you want to get
bullshit. Complete bullshit. Trump is a cult of personality. He's selling an entire ideology. He never follows up on what he says he's going to do. He lies and lies and lies. That's the entire thing he sells is an ideology. That's the entire thing.
I don't think there's anything ideological about Trump at all. I think he just
for the
there's no
love of God. He literally has had concepts of a healthcare plan since his first presidency. I'd like to know where that healthcare plan is. Huh?
I don't think you can get any ideology out of Trump. He just says random shit all the time. Like he's not ideological. He's just trying to pander to different people, to get people to vote, to keep him popular, or just random harebrained schemes he has. There's no ideology in Trump. I don't know why you think Trump has some sort of ideology behind what he's doing.
This is the most insane thing I've ever heard somebody say. You don't think Trump sells people ideologies? Why do you think he panders so hard? Why do you think he panders so fucking hard to evangelicals? Why do you think that is?
He's a personality call. No, he is not. Okay. He is not.
Yeah, and that involves selling an ideology. What are we on? What are we on? What are we on? How do you have a cult without somebody selling you some kind of ideology?
The personality cult. He doesn't care about you really think he's a religious person? I don't think so. That's not
opposite of what I said. That's not opposite of what I said. It can be a cult of personality, and he's selling an ideology, and that's how he got there in the first place.
No.
So people.
No, it's not.
Okay, I think I'm over Ruby. I think we've talked about this for 30 minutes, and I think we're talking in circles. I find you to be very dishonest, and just sort of like sidestepping everything we say.
It's a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise. Have a good rest of your night.
Oh, you too.
Oh my fucking God, bro.
Saying that Trump doesn't sell people like an ideology is the most delusional, deranged thing I've ever heard.
I literally, as I'm listening to him, I'm like, is there an idiot Olympics that is competing for this evening because he's winning? He's winning.
His entire thing is like, I'm for the Christians. I'm the Christian candidate. I'm the I will bring traditional values, but that's an ideology. I don't understand.
Exactly.
Am I like? I feel like we're not like he doesn't know the definition of the word. I don't know. It's just so.
Although, for what it's worth, I said since America's impotence, and that's not what I meant.
It's okay. I didn't even catch it.
It was. What was it? Whatever was happening on the line for Ruby was reaching my brain, and that's okay.
It's also funny to me that people will claim insane shit like, "Oh, Muslims are going to take over in a couple decades." Have you seen the way we treat them? Like already?
It's also this conversation has been happening since 9/11. Like this is
yeah, exactly. And when Mamdani was elected, that's the first thing they bring up.
Yes.
Like saying they're all like terrorists or whatever. And I'm like, you watch how Muslims get treated in this country, and you think we're a couple decades away from them having all of the influence and power. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Like truly no sense. And also like the amount of times he just would give this like random fake anecdotal thing, and then I'd be like, can you give me like any information about that? A name? Nothing. No information about a name. But he's going to give me the name of a crusty, dusty, outdated
something that happened 10 years ago.
Yeah, the thing that happened 10 years ago. And then also Richard Dawkins, which, by the way, someone in the chat was like, Alyssa doesn't know who Richard Dawkins is. What the fuck? Okay. Relax.
Cares?
Respectfully, I'm not like obsessed with reading about atheism or whatever. I just like don't believe in God.
It gets pretty boring after a while anyway.
Exactly. I don't need to like read a whole book about it. I don't need like I'm good on it. I don't believe. I don't need to like I don't need to.
Also,
good.
I hate it when people bring up that stuff to atheists as if I look at these people like they're my god or like my leader. I'm like, I'll be honest, I don't really give a shit about them.
I don't care.
If I read their book or something, whatever. I don't have to have their opinions and I don't have to think they're right. And I just don't know why people bring that stuff up.
I don't either. I just think it's sort of like that, also that mentality of like you identifying that I'm an atheist and that I should have read all of this
Right.
atheist.
Like it's a
It's
religion.
not like a, yeah, exactly. It's not a religion. It's not a religion. It's not a club I signed up for. It literally is just like it's the absence of all of those things. So, and also you like we hear all the time that like the atheist community is not so nice and blah blah blah. This is the reason.
Yeah, I just can't get I just can't get over this. Like I feel like so much and I have my criticisms of Islam. I've always said that. Obviously, it's very similar to Christianity in the way that they're patriarchal systems. But with that being said, so much of the criticisms towards Islam in America is racism. And I
Yeah.
know because I was surrounded, especially I know he wasn't a Christian, but especially in Christian spaces, it's just racism because anything that they would have to criticize about their own religion teaches themselves or like
Mhm.
practices in one way or another. It might look different, but they're both conservative for a reason. So, like, obviously, if they're fundamentalists or whatever. So, it's such a tired conversation.
It really is. It really is. Well, but before we wrap up this conversation, we do actually have an atheist who called about like a similar, if not the same. Actually, the prompt he gave was, which is the biggest threat, Christian nationalism or theocratic Islamists? So I'm curious what they have to say, and maybe we'll just like round out this conversation while we're
Okay.
in this topic. And actually, his name is Kyle. I'm curious if Kyle also listened to that call and if he'll have some thoughts. So I'm gonna pull in Kyle, who is calling from Washington. Hello, Kyle.
I can hear me.
Yes, we can. How's it going? Did you hear that whole hot mess?
I call it the latter half. I didn't miss the beginning though, so I'll have to
That's
check
fine.
it out later when doing this stuff. So, well, first off, Alyssa, sorry about your dog. I saw that on your Instagram.
Oh, thanks. She's okay. Thank God. That was crazy. I also like I say thank God all the time as a person who doesn't believe in God, but I just like don't know what else to say. I'm not gonna say thank Satan. I think that's
We
I'm just
repeat
like
things we hear.
yeah, whatever. Anyways, I'm sorry. Like, but yeah, thank you. Thank you for saying that. She's okay. It was a stressful day, but we're good. We're good over here.
Gotcha. But yeah, I asked that question because I was thinking about it, kind of ruminating on it for a while, and I saw the latter half of the previous caller, so hopefully I can bring some thoughtfulness and hopefully nothing becomes unhinged, But in any event, so I was thinking about it, like, and I started thinking about it or more ruminating on it when I saw Taylor's YouTube video, like it was more recent when Taylor, you were just sort of like you were taking like a Instagram reel or a TikTok and just showing how this one woman was just going on a harangue about Muslims in America when a lot of the quotes from the Quran that she was criticizing might as well just been a copy and paste verbatim from the Bible that she presumably would be reading. But I was thinking about it a lot, and both are threats to equality and democracy and freedom of thought and expression and choice. And the hardcore Christian nationalists and there's like a spectrum that exists within Islamic fundamentalism, but both do want to replace free, open societies with just narrow religious dogma. But I was just wondering if either one of you, where do you sort of fall on this question? Because, like, do they cancel one another out, or are they identical, or which one poses a bigger existential threat, if it even is an existential threat, that is.
Well, I feel like it's obvious that there are parts of the planet where women have less rights because of religion. And so I can recognize when things are worse for certain people, but I also just think it has to do with place and time. Like there are times in our past where Christians were violent, super violent. And so it's hard for me to compare them, but when it comes to comparing them, the only thing I can really compare is the way it can oppress people and how they're both patriarchal systems that have a lot of the same ideas, obviously because they're directly related. They're both Abrahamic religions. So I think that's obviously the reason that they have a lot of the same issues. I just think it can look different and it can come about in different ways. But it's hard to, I don't think they're exactly the same. There's obviously differences in culture and different places on the planet. But yeah, I don't know. That's just my biggest thing is a lot of things I criticize Christianity for, I could probably say about Islam if they're fundamentalists, like the Christian fundamentalists I'm talking about.
Did you want to say anything, Alyssa? I mean, if you had anything to say.
I mean, I feel similarly. I think at least for the United States, Christianity feels more nefarious to me because there is a huge chunk of the United States that feels so comfortable and like happy to embrace Christianity, even if they aren't Christians. Like it's so embedded into our culture where culturally in the United States, Islam and their culture, their religion, like that, all of that is culturally charged in the US. So there's sort of like, sorry, my table's shaking. So there's sort of a safeguard in a way where Christianity, like the wheels are fucking off. Like people are so comfortable with it in the United States, and that's just not the case for Muslim folks, and that like makes it feel more nefarious. The fact that we even had a moment in time where I think it was in Oklahoma, the Ten Commandments were in public schools. That would just never happen with any other religion in the United States. It's so ingrained into and like normalized. So that makes the biggest difference to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it, and with like the hardcore Christian nationalists that you see in power or within media and entertainment, no, they often claim that they are the bulwark against Islamic extremism with, making threats of deportation or they engage in hardcore anti-Palestinian or anti-Arab racism. And someone like Charlie Kirk, I think at a Turning Point conference, he made the crass joke thing, like the punchline is that there's no more homes and there's no more gay people in Palestine because of what's occurring in Gaza at the moment. And then you just go further along down the line with just discrimination and violence against religious and non-religious minorities. With say like, I mean, I don't know if it's still within the news cycle, but with that Somali daycare fraud that occurred in Minneapolis and some of the hostilities towards the Somali population that predominant shit, I can't even pronounce my words correctly today, but predominantly Muslim, and Muslim politicians that like, I mean, I don't even know if someone like Zoran Mandani is like that devout. He's probably more like he's more culturally Muslim in the sense that, he may practice or whatnot, but he's not super outward or very professing in his faith. But someone like Elon Omar that regularly and consistently has very real threats against her safety and her um, uh, has really realistic threats in her way daily and whatnot. And then there's just discrimination against Jews or LGBT people, and
Mhm.
you know, with like the fractioning that's happened within just the broader conservative right wing in America, is that there's like kind of like the old generic conservatism from like the going back to 2010s, but the young Gen Z conservatism is very rapidly anti-Semitic in terms of the influence that the American First kind of Groyper, Nick Fuentes wing of conservative politics. As like what I'm trying to get at is like their anti-Semitism is pretty rife within right-wing America at the moment, and then they're just creatures of social media when they just launch propaganda war, and like tech oligarchs like Elon Musk will declare like the left is the party of murder in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's death, and then you have other figures within Silicon Valley just signal boosting that, and sort of like what I said before was that a generation of young men have just been radicalized by like the hedonistic, antisocial brainwashing that's been perpetuated by the manosphere. So like, that's all sort of like the hardcore Christian nationalism. But then, if you just take that and just sort of, not necessarily within like the context of America, but you could just look at the go across borders and think of like in Western Europe or maybe parts of the Middle East or North Africa, like the Salafi, Wahhabi style fundamentalism is pretty rare within the Islamic world. But then you just have concentric circles where there is like very illiberal, as you said, Taylor, patriarchal, very very intolerant views, and radicalization and violence is an ongoing issue as a result of destabilization in the Middle East, and the migrant crisis as a result of destabilization within the last 20 or so years. And then the theocratic Islamists are kind of similar to some of the Christian nationalists in the sense that they denounce Western liberalism and Western civilization for decadence and degeneracy and progressivism, and then there's support for things that are just incompatible with just basic human rights, things like Sharia law, honor killings, and go on and go on. And then I did hear the previous caller, mention Charlie Hebdo, and I don't know what his views were. He didn't say if he was an atheist or a Christian, Muslim, whatever. I think he did say he was religious. So I don't even know what his views are, but like he didn't mention Charlie Hebdo and Salman Rushdie, and you could also mention things like the Jyllands Posten Danish cartoons controversy, where depictions of the Prophet Muhammad, satirical depictions of the Prophet Muhammad are
right.
It's just heretical within Islam, and there's sort of like a silencing criticism. There's sort of like a chilling effect as a result of those moments in history where if you try to criticize, I try to be very careful in the sense of criticizing Islam as an ideology and not being bigoted towards Muslims, however they profess their faith as people. But as a result of those instances, there's been a sort of like a chilling effect in terms of de facto blasphemy codes or just self-censorship when it comes to depictions of the Prophet Muhammad, or just criticizing or raising awareness to the issues of how gays, women, progressive Muslims are treated within the Muslim world. But like, I guess that's what I want to call in about. But coincidentally, of all the days I decided to call in, it was like the moment when, someone else was like, having it out with you too. So
yeah, I did want to say one thing that bothers me is when people compare Christian nationalism and fundamentalists. Well, first of all, I want to say it irritates me when people don't understand that Islam is the same way as Christianity, in the way that there are different types. Like, we have progressive Christians here, we have fundamentalist Christians here, blah, 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 blah. And they have convinced a lot of people that if you're not forcing your religion in politics, then you're not a real Christian. And I think that's what some people do with Mamdani as well. I think that he probably is strong in his faith in Islam, but believes in the separation of church and state. And I think that's a lie that's been told to us, that if a religion is important to us, we have to force it onto other people. But one thing that really bothers me is people pretend as if Christian nationalism can't get directly violent. And I think it's violent in different ways that aren't so cut and dry, if you know what I mean. But we have, I hear the temperature is going up more and more and more. The very first people I saw justifying the shooting of Renee Good were Christian nationalists. And the first people who are defending ICE are Christian nationalists. And like I bring up Joel Webbin again, where he says we need to be God's avengers and go out and capture immigrants and all of this stuff. And then you have the leader of those evangelicals, Donald Trump, saying that he wants a death penalty for Democrats for saying shit he doesn't like and reposting stuff about how we should hang them. And so I think people severely underestimate, if we don't get it under control, what it leads to. They talk as if, oh, Christian nationalism is actually better because they're not chopping people's heads off. And it's like, do you not think that if they get enough control, they're already being violent? I mean, the stuff with ICE and shit, they're all justifying it, but it could very easily get much, much worse. And I think that's the number one thing that bothers me, is people acting like as if Christians wouldn't possibly do that kind of thing, as if we don't have history books. That's just my biggest issue with the entire thing. That was my rant.
Did you want to say anything, Alyssa?
No, I have nothing to add. I think that was perfect because I agree. It's interesting that the threat, again, it's like similar with the previous caller, where we're seeing the tangible threat here right now, and we see the risk of Christian nationalism playing out right now, and the risk and the threat are not so tangible here. So for I can't remember exactly how you phrased it, theocratic Islamist like beliefs. So I don't know. I don't really have that much to add to Taylor, because I think that was very well worded.
Yeah, I mean, like, and were you gonna say something?
I was gonna say, I do feel kind of, I think what you said of, whenever I do say something criticizing Islam, I want to be careful in which way I say it. And it's not because I'm afraid to criticize it. It's because I am not going to criticize it around Christians, because I already know how they are. Like, they treat them like garbage. They're racist towards them. So why would I think my thought is, so why would I criticize Muslims around them, if that makes sense? That's why it feels like I have to be careful, because in my mind, I'm like, you guys are treating Muslims so poorly and bringing up shit like 9/11 when we have a single Muslim elected into any kind of position. So why would I spend my time criticizing these people when you guys are being so hateful in the first place? It's not even, they don't have valid criticisms, they're just being hateful. But if you know what I mean, I think a lot of people in the United States are careful if they're progressive of how they comment on things, because they already know what they go through on a day-to-day basis in our country, if that makes sense.
yeah, and you should try to always be thoughtful and principled, and just because I may be very critical or have some, you know, uh, fears of religious extremism as it pertains to Islam, it doesn't mean that I'm going to uh, suddenly be teammates with Nick Fuentes and Andrew Wilson. um, I just, I had like a list of questions or like comments I was going to say, but like listening to the other previous caller kind of rattled me, and sort of like now I'm trying to like think. But I guess like what I have to say is like, you know, if I were to, raise, if I were to try to talk about maybe things like such as, the human rights abuses within Islam, there may be some safety threats or concerns. And you've seen that just how with like all progressive liberal critics of Islam are. I mean, someone like Maryam Namzani or there's like a long laundry list of people that I can mention, but it's irrelevant. But I could be fearful of my safety, and not just of myself, but like family members and friends. But at the same time, like you said, Taylor, and like what both of you have said, is that at the moment, the Christian nationalists are in power, and they have like a closer proximity to power, and it's just not really like I guess like I don't know if we have very many similarities or differences, but like with that previous caller, but like I just don't really see it as binary in the same way that he does. I mean, like that phrase that, oh, the enemy of your enemy is your friend. No, actually, sometimes the enemy of your enemy is just your enemy. And,
right.
Christian nationalism is in more ways than one, is a more pressing danger and threat to democracy due to its proximity to power. And like, I will grant that like there is like maybe some immediacy of violence from theocratic Islamism, but like, what you see occurring with ICE, what you see going on within social media, and how Christian nationalism is amplified, it's just not really on the same scale. And we consider the fact that at least within the context of America, far right, it depends on how you define political violence, but far right political violence exceeds Islamic extremism considerably. Now, that's not to trivialize either forms of extremism or terrorism, but that's where I sort of see it.
I also don't think people take into consideration that Christian nationalism a lot of times is, like most of the time, is used as a tool, like Trump does, where it's not like he actually gives a shit about the religion. I don't even think he's a Christian nationalist in the way where he uses it to his benefit. Do I think he gives a single shit about religion into our no? It's about using it to his benefit. And now I'm losing my fucking thought. It was important too.
There's that viral, I think it was before he ran his first term, but there was that viral video where someone was interviewing him, asking him if he could describe his favorite verse from the Bible.
Yeah, and he
said,
he also said he's never repented either.
Yeah. Right. And never repented.
But I did remember what I wanted to say. Is people act like all of this stuff is going to go down the exact same way. They're like, oh, well, we're not like Islam and they're worse because, we're not going down the same exact way. People forget that most of the time religion is used by authoritarian leaders. So that can very easily lead to death in a different way. Do you know what I'm saying? Hitler did some of that.
Well, yeah, and especially in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, if you were to watch his ceremony, his wake ceremony.
Yes, they
A
talked
lot of
like
the figures.
Nazis.
Yeah, what was that?
I was gonna say though, Stephen Miller, when he talked, it felt to me like a straight up Nazi like speech about like calling people they need to be destroyed and they're dirt and they or like something like that and they need to be destroyed. The way they were talking was really horrifying. I watched the entire thing and I was horrified at the first guy who got up and talked, which I think was one of Charlie Kirk's best friends, and then Stephen Miller was pretty horrifying.
Well, yeah, they do have us versus them mentality, and someone like Elon Musk, when he tweets the left is the party of murder, and so many figures along the right just amplify that, both not just on Twitter, but people in office that just assume that Charlie was killed by a left-wing progressive when the ideology of the shooter is pretty contradicting still to this day.
Right, we don't
Who
know.
he was and whatnot, and they just assume that it was a leftist, and because of that, we have to turn up the dial and whatnot. And it's worth considering that across the political spectrum, whether if it was left wing or progressive left wingers, or maybe more moderate centrist, there wasn't a single person in office that gave some kind of BS equivocation in terms of Charlie Kirk's death. It was a complete announcement of political violence, and everyone was trying to turn down the dial. Yet it was only Trump who decided to just further politicize it. So.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest issues is whenever something like that happens, like the Charlie Kirk thing, I did not see now, don't get me wrong, I have my criticisms of the Democrats, but I did not see a single elected Democrat say anything like people on the right do that are like foul, including Donald Trump, where he's like, I hate them. I don't love my enemy. I hate them or whatever. He's not interested in ever turning down the temperature because it is always going to benefit him, always. And I think one thing that people on the left, or whatever you want to call it, Democrats, liberals, leftists, I think it's frustrating when they are pretending like they can do anything they want, but we have to be walking on eggshells and make sure we don't say anything that would, quote unquote, cause violence. But then the president of the United States can repost something about hanging Democrats, and that's perfectly fine. It is also very, very telling to me that when things happen, like Renee Good getting shot in the face, 45 minutes later, you have Kristi Noem calling her a domestic terrorist before any kind of investigation is done. Yeah. And we also saw that with the Charlie Kirk shooting, where it wouldn't matter if it even came out that the shooter was like conservative. It wouldn't have mattered because they don't care about that. And it's so frustrating because when you see them do that, they're supposed to be coming from a neutral stance of, we're going to investigate this thing. That's what gives people a sense of safety, is there will be justice and they will actually look at the case. That's obviously not the case anymore. And it's really horrifying. And that's why I think we could very, very quickly go into a place where more direct violence is done, like it's being right now with ICE, where, like JD Vance is saying that they have absolute immunity. What the fuck does that mean? And it feels like he's giving the green light to ICE agents to do whatever they want, and they know it'll be fine. And that's horrifying to me. And I think if it keeps going, that's just going to be the beginning of it.
Yeah, it is unfair that you sometimes have to hold yourself to a standard and decorum that your opponents don't even follow themselves, and that's
and I don't think it works anymore.
Yeah, and I don't really want to see America devolve into. I think the only near example that I can think of within recent history would be, say, the period of the Troubles within Ireland, where you have just sort of ethno-nationalist or religious nationalist paramilitary groups engaging in tit-for-tat violence. But I don't know, it's sort of like what I said earlier. Just because I may criticize or have my thoughts and criticisms about theocratic Islamism, like the previous caller. It doesn't mean that I'm just going to suddenly hug all of the MAGA supporting Protestant Christians within my community because, granted, they're perfect strangers, but like there is probably like a certain population of them, or like a certain percentage of them that probably would rather see me not in America just because of my views in regards to Christianity or liberalism or progressivism. They just sort of see me as an enemy. And like I said, it is unfair that you have to hold yourself to a higher standard of morality because, I mean, it's sort of like what Karl Popper, the philosopher, wrote when he was talking about the paradox of tolerance, where if you extend tolerance to the people that are the most intolerant, tolerance as well as you are going to be the ones that are going to go in that situation. And so, but like, I think the only sort of solution is to just try to, I don't know, like just remember your own humanity and just keep educating and fighting the good fight, I guess, without sort of following down like a dark path, I guess. Not to moralize, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't even think we should be going by being the bigger people or whatever, because it's very I'm so serious, because I think it's very clear. I'm not promoting violence or anything, but I think it's very clear that the law and rules only apply to one side of the aisle right now.
Yeah.
And we, if that's the case, we don't really have law. We really don't have anything, because nobody, like, they're not being held accountable for anything, but yet they will try and make up stuff for people on the other side. And the cases keep being dropped because there's literally nothing there. And so I don't even think that we should be the bigger people anymore, because, to be honest, it's gotten us literally nowhere. I don't know what needs to happen, but I know that we shouldn't be laying down and just taking it and saying, oh, it's okay. Like, I'm beyond that.
I think that's part of why Trump.
Maybe I should just clarify. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that the way that we feel about the left having like no teeth in this, I think, is largely why Trump won the first and the second time. Because when we have enough Democrats in office, it just doesn't feel like anything gets done. We're just sort of like treading water, and it's just not. Trump and Bernie were like, people who are Trump supporters were also, many of them were also supporters of Bernie Sanders, because both of them, even though it was like completely separate directions, they both were advocating for like huge overhauls, and people wanted that so badly. And every time we have a Democrat in office, they just do fucking nothing. And now we have this administration who's like making up their own rules. And I don't know if you saw this today. There was, I can't remember what the name of what representative this was, who was saying that they're advocating for ICE officials to have like their body cams on and identification and whatever.
I think that was Democrats in general.
Yeah, it's like, that's not.
It was Hakeem Jeffries.
Was it? Okay, yeah.
Maybe.
And it's like, that's not the point. It's like, great, yes, I guess, sure, do that. But also, that's not.
But ICE is being told to record anyway. So that's why I'm kind of like,
yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't think that'll do anything.
Well, I guess what I mean by like be a bigger person in the sense of like, oh, no, I don't mean that you can't use your voice or you can't, fight back in the sense of like using your words and whatnot, but like, I guess not getting down to their level in terms of just basic democratic norms, in the same way that like other dubious figures like Elon Musk or Trump will. Because when you start disregarding like the basic democratic norms, that after a certain point, all it takes is just know your opposition to have a less reluctance to do it, because, well, you did this, or I'm going to do that. But then again, that's just whataboutism. But I mean, yeah, It does.
Yeah, I mean, we've already proven we're not
does,
like
yeah.
them when just by the fact that we accepted the election results and they did not. Clearly, they got violent when it didn't go their way, and we just accepted it. And it's very clear that the left wants to uphold those things and wants to still have fair elections. And now we have people on the right saying that we shouldn't even do the midterms. We just shouldn't. And I keep seeing people advocate for this, and it's just mind blowing. People on the right are the most unpatriotic people I've ever seen in my entire life, and I think that they hate this country and want to turn it into something completely different. And it's frustrating for people who want to progress as a society in general.
Yeah. So, I mean, initially that was my call that I wanted to talk about, and hopefully it was thoughtful. But I feel like I just dampened the mood even more so. Sorry.
No, but you had a much.
I mean, we wanted to talk about it. We put as the
Yeah. Yeah, and I think your conversation was very clearly more thoughtful than what we were dealing with before. So we appreciate you calling in. This is really interesting, and we'll, I'm sure, continue to have conversations like this. But we'll let you go for now, and we'll get to some other callers. We have some other topics too. So we are going to let you go. But thank you so much for calling, Kyle. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye. Oh, that was so chill and warm after the.
It was just slightly more chill.
Yeah. Slightly. All right, I'm gonna read our schedule for the next week before we get back into calls. Tomorrow we have the hang up at 6:00 with Matt and Jimmy. That'll be a fun show. On the 22nd, we have TACIS at 2 p.m. with Josie and Ben. 25. Okay, Sunday, 1 p.m. We have Seth and Erica on the Sunday show in the afternoon. And then for the evening Sunday show, we have Shannon, Q, and Forrest. That'll also, what a fun day. Sunday's going to be a fun day. On Monday, we have Skeptalk at 6 o'clock with Aaron and Erica. And then we're back again for Chewed Gum on Tuesday. And I forgot to also mention, if you are not a patron, please go to patreon.com/calltheline, and you can be a patron to get lots of bonus content. You can get bonus content. You can also just be a supporter of this channel, not just this show. We really appreciate it, especially in the beginning of the year when our whole YouTube algorithm is a little funky. So if you ever have a little bit of extra spare something, now would be the time to become a patron. Go to patreon.com/calltheline. We would really appreciate it. And actually our mugs for the mug brawl, which is we're not brawling anymore, but those mugs are limited edition. And if you would like them, please be sure to place an order by the end of the month, because after the end of the month, the rest of the mugs will go away, and the winning mug, Jimmy's mug, is going to be, I believe, a t-shirt. So you can get that design on a shirt, which is cool. So if you're interested, you can go to linemerch.com and check out our merch, which also helps support this channel and support this show. Yeah, I think that's all of my announcements for today. Do you have a preference of the next call that you would like to take?
It depends on like the energy you're feeling, I mean, I don't know. Like how are you feeling? You want something like very different or like the same?
Okay, wait, hold on a second. Let me just see.
I guess they all are pretty much, maybe except for one, are all pretty much like related to each other.
Yeah, they are. We're doing bingo again and they want to see my mug. Okay, well, I'll get my mug a little later today. Okay, so let's see. Should we have like a little palate cleanser call? And
yeah, sure.
Let's take Pip. And we love Pip, so this will be a nice way to just like get us back in there. Hi, Pip.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. How's it going?
Well, if you found a method to my madness, I would sure like to know, because I've no fucking idea. So answer on a postcard, please.
Oh my god, you crack me up. You crack me up. Your entire vibe just makes the whole show so much lighter, so I'm happy you called.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Although as someone who is very much entrenched in England for the foreseeable future and possibly the rest of my life, I don't know, I can say that Ruby, or whatever the fuck his name was, is absolutely full of shit.
Yeah.
Muslims are not the ones who are holding supposedly Christian rallies and calling for small migrant boats to be sunk and for, the other Christians to be the great threat that should be exterminated. Muslims are the ones who are hosting the local corner shops and selling me flapjacks and energy. And I consider one to be a considerably lesser threat than the other. I think you'll understand.
I agree. I agree very much. And actually, your topic is all tied into all of this. The prompt I see is how much should we try and find middle ground with our political and social adversaries? I'd like to know what you think. What do you think? How much middle ground do you think we should be trying to find?
This all comes because at the end of last year, I had a big crash out of my D&D group because I posted a meme about a goat wrecking a cop car with like the caption, "Not all heroes wear capes." And I thought it was, pretty silly. But one guy just had to come along and say, cops are the only thing that are keeping us from anarchy. And I tried to reach across the aisle in that moment. I tried to say, well, I may be an anarchist myself, here's what it means, but I fully recognize that we're probably not going to agree on all that, specifically on the most extremes, but the foundation I want to focus on is human rights, is deconstructing social hierarchy. If we can agree on that and just agree to just be nice to people, then I'll be fine. But then the guy kept going, insisted that the left was more violent and that, I lacked critical thinking skills. And that was just it for me. But the crucial part is I'm still in touch with the dungeon master. I still talk to him, and he is honestly a decent guy despite being a Reform UK supporter, which is our equivalent of what the Republicans are. They're basically fascist light. And I've talked to him on the subject. He doesn't take it personally. And he's even said to me, literally yesterday, enough political shit, are you okay? He is a person who genuinely seems to care about people and humans. And we agree on trans rights. We agree that even if George Floyd was a criminal, for the sake of argument, that he should not have been murdered by the police. He should have, been given a fair trial and all that. And yet he also still seems to be quite right-leaning and seems to agree that the left are more violent. And so I think there's potential here. There is a fundamental foundation that we can agree upon and show that we are good people who actually care about this shit, and we can discuss this, and we can have our disagreements but also agree on the better things. And so I think that's something we should focus on.
I think one of the biggest issues is they have really put an emphasis on the sin of empathy, so that way they can get away with what they're getting away with. So in my mind, it's hard to find a middle ground with them at all, because now Christian nationalists are labeling things like empathy, woke, or a sin. So I'm at a loss of what to do with that.
Yeah, that's a mood.
I think about this a lot because Because I think like when we're doing the whole thing of like we want to be goal oriented, it's like how do we get people who are on the side of like MAGA and super conservative folks, how do you get them to come to their senses, hopefully? Do you do it by, sort of meeting them with resistance all the time? Or do you do the best you can to try and find middle ground? Because a lot of the time, like obviously this doesn't apply for people who are, I mean, I, I was gonna say this doesn't really apply for people who are like bigots and racist and whatever, but it still kind of does. At the end of the day, every person just wants to be healthy, happy, successful. They want their family to feel safe. And so, for people who are like super racist and whatever, they really genuinely think that they are safer without certain groups of people present, which is just not true and also wrong. So but if you want to get those people across the line, does it make more sense to do it in a way where you're like presenting facts to them and you're explaining that rates of crime like from white people to white people, or you're gonna explain the effects of systematic racism and how we got here and how we can fix it. It's like sometimes I think it reminds me of the conversations that we've had about like men and masculinity and the manosphere and whatever. It kind of feels like you have to meet people where they're at if you're able to do it, and if they're willing to like have this conversation, sort of like what you're describing, where they're willing to just talk about it. However, if I'm having a conversation with someone and this happened like over the summer, there was a woman who insisted on telling me that I didn't know what I was talking about, contradicted herself a million times, was talking about how they got 60,000 rapists, immigrants that they've captured already, and blah, blah, all this crazy stuff that was just simply not true. And at that point, I was like, I'm going to cut my losses because this is a stupid conversation and we're not going to get anywhere. But if someone is willing to engage with you, then I think finding middle, like no one's leaving a cult because they felt criticized. They leave a cult because they felt like they saw the light and they felt welcomed by whatever the like other alternative group around them was. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think it's a sad fact of reality that a lot of hobby groups, the most destructive thing is politics, but it's also a double-edged sword because it's really necessary. And
Yeah.
if you'll pardon the elaborate metaphor, when I'm doing a tabletop war game, I can't spread out my troops across the whole map. I have to give ground in some places so that I can have a greater force of capturing other important places. And I'm kind of taking the same approach. I'm happy to give ground that maybe George Floyd committed a crime. I don't know. I'm willing to say I don't know the politics of Charlie Kirk shooter. Maybe the alleged, trans boyfriend or trans roommate that he had was evidence that he was left-leaning, even though that's not necessarily indicative of politics more as it is human rights. I don't know, but I just don't think he should have been murdered. I think that, sorry, I'll try again. I'm glad that he's not around to hurt people anymore, but I just would have preferred for the way to him be irrelevant, mocked, and just see his kids grow up to be like, you know what, I'm not dealing with you. So I think there is sometimes potential. If you can give some ground on just intellectual honesty, it can expose who is intellectually honest and who is worth your time.
The Charlie Kirk thing is really interesting because when it comes to Charlie Kirk, the most I can say is that I obviously want gun reform for reasons like that. So I don't like seeing gun violence. Am I going to act like it was such a huge tragedy that he's gone from this earth? No, I don't think so. If I'm being honest, like I think the gun violence is a tragedy. Do I think like, oh, the world would have been better if he was here. No, I don't think that. But the thing that bothers me the most is all of these Democratic leaders and people in positions of power are like, oh, what happened was a tragedy. It was so sad. Not a single one of them made fun of his death or made light of it. And yet we have, when somebody asks President Trump about the Democrats that were slaughtered in their own homes, he said, who? I don't know who that is. And so it's really frustrating. It's frustrating when somebody like Charlie Kirk dies and they expect us to publicly mourn him for some reason, or like be so upset when they don't do the same thing for anybody else at any time. I think it's frustrating. I think I get fed up where I don't even pretend that I'm like super sad about someone like that dying, because he also advocated for the death of people like Joe Biden. He said we should publicly execute him, and then he advocated for publicly executing people. So I hate kind of sitting there and pretending like the stuff he preached wasn't violent in the first place. So yeah, that's what's frustrating. And then also him saying stuff like when he's like, well, yeah, we're gonna have gun deaths, but I don't care. I want us to have our rights, so that's fine with me. So my thing is, I'm not even trying to say this in like a disgusting way. He literally did die for like something he believed in. He believed that kind of cost was okay to have like not as much restrictions on gun ownership and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I had to vent about the Charlie Kirk thing because it's frustrating.
Oh, believe me, yeah. I had to kind of try and explain to my DM that yes, what Charlie Kirk said was violent. He made a career out of violent speech. And I think the problem stems from the fact that violence is not necessarily throwing a punch. It's not necessarily saying you deserve to die,
yeah, exactly.
Although he did kind of try and have a roundabout justification for that. Well, oh, my special sky daddy says that this is okay, and who am I to question him? Like, yes, you should fucking question whether it's okay to stone gay people to death. That is the thing you should be questioning, if it's okay. It's annoying, but it's also like a mixed bag, because we do know when to stop and focus on mental health, because that's something I really have trouble with. I don't know if you've seen the movie Hot Fuzz, but like the protagonist, literally part of his character arc is that he cannot switch off. He's always on duty. He's always got his head on the next crime or whatever. And that's a whole different topic for conversation, but it's something that is kind of it's balancing things out. It's putting things on a scale, and they're not quite over to the irredeemable asshole, but I'm trying to make sure, or at least try my hardest to avoid it tilting in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
that's more or less. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say that actually I lost my train of thought. So I don't know what I was gonna say. I'm so sorry.
I'm dying at everyone in the chat saying, "We are Charlie Kirk.
I know.
We carry the flame."
Not like me to ever get distracted from the squirrel.
Oh my god, I know, truly. Like sometimes it just, my brain, we do what we can. Anyway, do you want to add any last minute thoughts before we move on to some other calls before we wrap?
Beyond the simple phrase that Discord lives matter, I want to just offer a very quick joke as a potential palate cleanser, and then I'll be on my way. I will make this very quick today.
Okay, lay it on me.
A guy walks into town and is astonished to find his best friend, and he says, "Why are you here? I heard that you died." The busman says, "No, I'm very much alive. And so the first guy says, wait a minute, no, that can't be right. The guy who told me you were dead was way more trustworthy than you.
I love it. That's awesome.
One of the oldest jokes in history, literally. Well,
we have
thank
some
you
of
very
like
much
the
for
best.
having me, and I wish you well for the rest of the show.
Thank you, Pip. We have some good jokes on this show. Thank you, Pip, for calling. We'll talk to you next time.
No problem. Bye for now.
Bye. Oh, we love Pip.
Yeah, they're really sweet.
I know. Okay, so I think okay, do we want to go Christian nationalism or do we want to go proof of God? which do you think?
I feel like we should end strong with Christian nationalism. It's been the topic, so why not?
Okay. All right. So let's pull in. Actually, I would like this person to pronounce their name for us. Hi there.
Hi.
Hi. Would you mind pronouncing your name for me? Because I do not want to mess it up.
Asif.
Asis. Okay. Nice to meet you.
Okay.
This is Taylor and Alyssa. What would you like to talk about today? It's Christian nationalism that you think is good. Please explain why.
I want some personal question to you, especially to Alyssa. Hello.
Sure.
What's your ethnicity?
I'm Croatian and Italian.
Wait, what?
Okay.
My ethnicity.
I thought you were Arabic. I thought you were Arabic.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Oh.
I get Arabic, I get Persian, I get lots of things.
No, you're beautiful, that's why.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice. So what did you want to talk about today? You wanted to talk about Christian nationalism. Tell us more.
Yeah. Like, like every person has belief. Can we agree on that or not?
That every person has belief?
Every person has belief.
In a God or just like...
No, just in general, like how to live life, how to behave, how to talk, how to do things and all that. Not.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Like when I'm a student of forensic science and sociology, like we study like throughout the culture and in our history to present to future. No, not future only, present and past. Like people, they have the characteristics of in group and out group things. Are you getting my point or not?
Wait, I didn't really catch what you said there. I think it maybe was like cutting out a little bit, or maybe you were talking too fast. I'm not sure. Do you mind repeating that?
Okay. Like people have beliefs. We agree on that at least.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Some people have beliefs is like how to behave, how to talk, how to dress, how to have social order, how to do things and etc. In the case of Christian nationalism, Christians want to live life because they think this is the best way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as a person who have no belief in God, like no have particular tie to any book or something, we want to live life our way.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't have community. We have community like as we know, like as a capitalism grow, individuality increases. That's a fact. That's a sociological study shows that the country which have more become capitalistic, they become more individualistic. Are we agree on that or not?
What, that we are becoming more individualistic?
Yeah, the more we become capitalistic,
I think
the
we
more
are.
individualistic we become.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Fair to say.
Oh, that's fair. Okay. But Christians have belief like from 2000 years and so on. Most religions, they believe they are stuck in like 2000 or 2500 years ago, where we live in a tribal way. So what happened? The Christians want to live their life because they think that's the best way. So they use the method of democracy and become a power. Like just you're talking about the Donald Trump. I'm right or not? They voted him and put him in the position to rule the nation. They done anything wrong according to your right. They follow the process and they do the process. Now they are changing the laws according to them. How they are wrong? I just want to know this only.
I have a good answer for that. They're
Okay,
not
okay, okay.
they are not created equal because how I live won't
Okay.
restrict them in any kind of way. I'm not saying that they can't believe in God. I'm not saying that they can't go to church. I'm not saying that they have to get an
Mm,
abortion. I'm not saying that they have to be gay or get married to the same sex. So if I were to have it my way, they wouldn't be restricted in ways like that. I wouldn't be taking away rights
So,
from them.
so
But
we
they
are doing
don't
the same thing now. Okay, okay. Go ahead.
no, so they don't do the same thing. They want to ban abortion. I'm sure they
Okay,
would roll back gay marriage if they could. And they
okay,
probably will try at some point. And
okay,
things that are rights for people, they have no problem taking it away if it's in the name of their religion. That's why these two are not the same.
okay. Christian want to live their life like separately. If they want to divide America in two parts. One, only the people who believe in individual rights, they live half side, and half side they live Christian nationalism. Is it okay or not for you?
I don't know the logistics of
But
that.
it can be possible now. It can be possible.
That would just be us like turning into two different countries, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's good or bad?
bad.
I
I
don't
think
know.
bad.
I don't know.
Oh, you
I don't
don't
know
know.
how that plays out.
Yeah, and I also
Because
think like if now we're
it,
talking about how people can live the way they want to, but they're going to do it in completely separate places. Like the purpose of having a country like the United States is to be able to
okay.
have freedom of religion without
Uh,
other people impeding on that
okay.
freedom. So you can live the life that you want to, and I can live the life that I want to, and they shouldn't
Uh,
interact with one another. Your belief system should not affect my belief system. I don't
but
really like if you are I mean a topic that we talked about a lot today was abortion rights. So
okay.
if you are religious and
Okay.
if you are Christian and in your faith,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
this is the case, where abortion
Okay.
is not acceptable. If
Mm-hmm.
you decide
But
abortion is
main
not
but I
acceptable
but
for you,
that
then don't get an
okay.
abortion. But to at a national level decide
Mm-hmm.
that abortion access is not available to everyone, that's where we have a
Mm-hmm.
problem. So it's when
Okay.
people's religions are impeding on the choices and options of choice for
Mm-hmm.
everyone else, then
Mm-hmm.
we start to get separation. Why?
Okay. Let's make a case. Do you know there is a organization, pro-life organization, which is completely atheistic? They don't follow any God. Hello.
Sorry, repeat that again.
Okay, there is a organization, a pure organization, which is a registered organization, which is pro-life organization, and they don't believe in Christian. They don't believe in any God, but they are pro-life. They're trying to make law so that no one can abort baby. You can just check it out. It's American organization, not any other organization. So you
I
can't say
mean,
like
I
if you are atheist or you don't believe in God, you can't be like that. You can be like that. There is no physical barrier to stopping you to behave like that.
yeah, and I would
Are
still
you
have a
getting my
problem with
point or
that.
not? Oh no, not its physical behavior. That I, if I have, if I am like I don't believe in God, I can still be dangerous to the people who are individualistic. So that's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Right.
People have belief. They believe we are we are humans. We believe in group out group. The same way you're saying that Christians are trying to override this country. They're trying to change and make the laws. When Democrat in power, they do the same thing. The Christians behave like that. They are trying to make the laws. They're trying to change everything. I'm talking about that. That's what I'm saying. That this is a particular time when, like, let's remember in 1950, how many of the people think that like 90 before slavery is abolished, how many people think that slavery is wrong? No one. Most of
Oh,
the
how many
just like,
people thought slavery was wrong? I
yeah, many
don't
people think it's
know.
okay. They do slavery. They participate in slavery very happily. But today, if you talk about slavery, then you might be in jail. So morality is morality. What the people behavior is changing day to day. They want something, they don't want something. So when people say that it is bad, I'm thinking like you are stuck in a position. It's bad.
I feel like I'm not understanding the argument because it could
My
be.
argument is I
Go
try
ahead.
to make a concise argument, then you get it. Everybody have belief. Everybody
Yeah.
have belief that we agree, and most people want. Some people are individualistic. Some people are tribal in nature. They want people to live around them. So Christians are mostly like that. They mostly are live in a pack type, like a tribal nature they have. That's why they have churches and all where they aggregate and do the decision whatever the preaching the pastor was trying to say. So I'm saying they are not bad, but they
Yes,
don't.
they are.
You just don't like them. I'm saying
No,
you just don't like them. They are
no,
not bad in it.
hold on. I
Okay.
explained to you the big difference. The entire reason, and they could
Okay.
be atheists and I would have this issue. The entire reason I have an issue with Christian nationalism is because it involves taking away people's rights. They don't afford to me what I afford to them. I don't want any of their rights to be taken away. These aren't, and they are perfectly okay with oppressing certain groups of people. So these two things are not created equal. I'm somebody who values human rights, autonomy. So I'm just not sure.
These are values. These are values you like, na? You want other
Yeah,
people
but these
to value
but these
you
are
values.
values that are not restrictive. So if I'm saying I
But they are
don't
not
want
binding
a
also.
law,
But they are not binding also. If you bind your values, then you are doing the same thing that religious people do.
no, we're not, because we are giving people
No, you are.
choice. We are not. We
It's
are
about
giving people
choice.
choice. It's about choice. People can choose to live however they want. If you are going to put restrictions on the way that people live, that is a different ideology completely. We are offering you a choice.
Okay, you are offering me a choice, and my choice is no baby should be killed in womb. So what?
Okay, so then don't have an abortion then. You
What I'm
personally
saying,
don't
I'm
need to
saying,
have an abortion. And
I
you
said no
also
baby. I just say my baby. I said no baby should be killed in womb.
okay, but
So what?
you cannot decide that for other people. And also, here's
But
the
other
other thing
people
too,
decide.
because here's the other thing too with
Other
that.
people.
Because this is
Okay.
a country where we have freedom of speech. You
Okay.
personally can
Okay.
advocate for people to not have abortions if you want to in this
Okay.
country. You're
Let, let,
welcome to
let,
advocate for that. You're welcome to make a wonderful case for why you believe that should be the standard for
okay.
people. But what you are not
But,
allowed to do is to take away the choice for other people. And part of that also is because it creates huge health complications for pregnant people. So this is what I'm saying.
I
It's
know.
about freedom of choice.
In any case, there will be complications. I'm not negating the complications. Okay. In any country you go where abortion is legal or illegal, there have pregnancy complications are there. I'm not negating the fact. I'm just saying that if you give me choice, you say that everybody should have choice, do whatever do everyone want to do no harm. Do no harm principle, I think. I'm getting right or not? Choice
But
is there, but do no harm.
their ideology doesn't involve do no harm. It's doing harm.
No, I'm talking about you. You thought everybody has a choice, but don't do harm to other people. That's I'm right or not?
But this is within your own body. So first, I mean, I guess we're stuck on the abortion thing. Yes, hypothetically, you're not going to do harm to other people. However, if a baby is growing in my body, it requires my body to develop and grow. So I get to decide what happens to my body. My needs take priority because I'm a fully grown human being. This other thing that depends on another human being to continue to grow it, their needs are not a priority because they are not fully formed.
Okay, let's take an example, a good example. Like in a hypothetical world, in world which is if you and I married, let's have a hypothetical. You earn some money like 500 rupees. I earn $500, and I earn $500. We put this money and we try to like negotiate where we trying to invest it. You say we should invest in church. I said I invest in church. You said no, we should not invest in church. We should invest in science and technology. Okay. Christians are also paying taxes. They don't want their money to be spent on the things they don't like. you thinking that your money should not be wasted on the things you don't like. I'm trying to making a case where the Christians now they are in power. They want to impose their will on other people. And when you come power, you do the same thing.
The entire reason that churches are tax exempt is because they're usually not getting money from the government for a reason.
Christians are paying taxes. Christians are paying taxes. Am I right or wrong?
Christians have what?
Christians are paying taxes to the government.
They're being
Yes, that doesn't mean that their money is going to churches. That's why they're tax exempt.
Let's take the hypothetical. If you are unmarried and we earn $500, you earn $500, we collect this money, and now we have to decide where we have to spend it. You want something, you want to spend this money on other things. I want to spend money on other things. But both have the
on
say
other
in the
people.
party.
Well, the thing is, I'm willing to have discussions on policy and like where money is going, but we can't even get to that point because they want to take away rights from people, which is the pressing issue right now, because nobody is getting any kind of justice right now because they don't give a fuck. So if they don't give a fuck about that, we're not even going to get to the point of talking about policy of where money should be spent, because they're spending it all on harming people in the country and not caring if those people kill Americans. So we can't even get to the point of talking about where our funds are going, because that's where we're at right now. We're not even at that spot.
Okay. Are you in favor of defunding the police?
Am I in favor of what?
Defunding the police.
Defunding the police.
Am I in favor of defunding the police? It depends on what that means. Like in my mind, I haven't looked too far into it because I don't know if defunding it would cause like more incompetent people, or I need to educate myself on that topic. I'm not sure.
Defunding the police also does not mean like taking away all of the funds from the police force. It's redistributing the way that the money is spent.
In part for that.
Yeah, in part it is also like, minimizing, I think, some of the money that goes to the police departments probably, but the majority of that whole like thing is to redistribute where that goes, and also like review how we are like the structure of all of it. Like I think it's crazy that police officers get no de-escalation training.
Right.
Like that's
I was about
crazy.
to say I would definitely be for putting funds towards like social work type people to be in those situations. Yeah, I 100% agree.
Okay. So let's say you are saying that I have a reasonable ground on which I try to defund the police. Okay. Christian came to the conclusion, I want more security, I want more safety, I want more things. This is my reasonable ground. I want to fund more police. Whose decision should be the super? We
can't even enter that conversation when they don't want to give people due process. Do you understand what I mean? The law doesn't apply to them anymore. So we can't even have these conversations. That's why Christian nationalism is such a problem. We can't be having conversations of where funds are going, because right now there basically is no law for them. They don't care about justice. They don't care. So when they have money going towards ICE agents or whatever, the military, it's completely not for the people. It's not about keeping people safe at all. It's about hurting people.
I want to ask one more question. I also a big fan of political science. America's military helped the world in peace or not? America's military power helped the whole world to be in peace or not? I want to ask you.
Is America worse with what? I didn't understand that.
America's military presence in the world create more peace or less peace?
Creates more peace or less peace. I think it depends on where, but I think that we have been the world's policemen and inserted ourselves in many places that we do not belong, and left them in worser states than in worse states than when we found them. So I think it depends. It depends on what you're talking about.
But I'm just assuming. I thought it's stereotype. But are you in favor of Ukraine war?
What?
Am I favor? Sorry.
Sorry for my stereotyping. Are you in support of Ukraine war? Like
in
Ukraine
support of the Ukraine war?
I think that with the way the world is, I think all war is stupid, but I recognize that's like not a reality. But I think it's important to keep allies for a reason. For some reason, Trump doesn't seem to understand that. He wants to isolate us from all different countries. So yeah, if we have an allyship with somebody, then typically that means that that you assist in that kind of situation.
Like Christians want that you should. Christians want that you don't fund the Ukraine. The Ukraine is not ally. Okay, they want like they are proposing to fund however.
But they'll fund Israel.
They don't.
They'll fund Israel, who's bombing Gaza. So I don't understand. Like,
no. Most Christians also don't support Israel.
No, most Christians do. Most Christians do because they think they're God's people and they think this is all part of the prophecy. So yes, a lot of them do support Israel.
No, it's not. You can go to the what's the recent poll study which shows that most of the only the political Christians want to have a relationship with Israel. Not the most people who voted Trump.
I think there's becoming a change where some of MAGA is pissed off at giving any money anywhere besides us. But for the most part, if they typically choose it like supporting Israel over anything else, honestly. But I do think there are a lot more people starting to be like, they want to completely be, separated from all other countries and just put funding into our country. I can agree on that. That's what you mean.
That's good or not? That's good or not?
Is that good or not?
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously don't want us to be funding Israel, but I also don't think it's good in other aspects to completely isolate ourselves from any allyship whatsoever. That's going to be a real fucking problem if we ever have an issue.
What is the problem with that? What is the problem with that?
What is the problem?
I just told you what the problem was. If we get in a pickle and we have no allies, what's going to happen?
No,
you need allyship.
I'm not talking about the economic alliance is important. It's a globalized word, but military alliance is not important. I'm trying to say if US just come pull every military from the world, the production of firearms will be totally reduced, and it will be good for the world. I think so, because they are investing highly militarized zones. They produce the more guns they are selling more guns. They're producing more guns, and that is also become very problem. You just watch any ground reporting from Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, the Central Africa, the Burundi, and go every places. You find the American guns. I'm from India actually. I watch every political thoughts are going on in India. If you have the Nationalites, the local terrorist organization, they have the American guns. I want this US country to be isolated. That's why I also support Christian nationalism.
Wait, so I'm sorry. I want to get back to the original topic that we were talking about, because originally you called in about Christian nationalism. Hold on. You were talking about Christian nationalism specifically, not about the US influence everywhere. So I want to know why you think specifically Christian nationalism is a good thing. Oh, I think we just lost him.
Oh, well.
Fine. He couldn't stay on topic. And also, I was having a hard time understanding him. I think he was
talking really
so
fast.
Quickly. Yeah, it was very fast. So I was like trying to stay on top of it. But anyway, okay. Well, that's fine. Do you have a preference of the calls that we have left? Maybe we take the one that's been waiting the longest.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
All right. Okay, we're gonna pull in Ezekiel. Hello.
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 How are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Oh my gosh. Hello. Wait, no, I'm scared.
What's happening?
Okay, no, that like was freaking me out. I just dropped the call.
I know, I'm scared too. What the fuck is that?
No, I did not like that.
I did not like that. Troll behavior.
Yeah, that was like
and why
scary.
did I just hear myself?
Yeah, I heard you too. That was really scary. Just saying hello like that. Ugh, that felt like a horror movie.
This poor person is probably like, I'm never calling this show again.
Oh my God, that was really scary.
No, that was for
I know,
sure
and
some dude putting on a woman's voice. That was 100% a troll.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so like I hated that.
Yeah.
All right, well, we have one more call that we will get to before we finish the show. So if you want to get in your super chats, now is the time. Get those super chats in, like the video if you haven't already. If you are watching this video, if you happen to be watching this video and you are not subscribed to the line, that's crazy work. Subscribe.
That's embarrassing.
That's really embarrassing. And you should feel shame. You should feel a lot for that. So anyways, yeah, follow or subscribe to the line on YouTube on this channel here so that you can see all of the fun live shows that we do all throughout the week. And that was really scary.
Do you know what's crazy? They literally waited 2 hours and like 25 minutes to get hung up on?
Be creepy as shit. I'm gonna be going to sleep thinking about that. That was really scary. All right. Okay, we're gonna pull in our last call for the evening. This is Matthew calling from North Carolina. Hi, Matthew.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going well. Sorry about that last caller. I don't know if you've seen Ed Gein on Netflix, where he's like the first serial killer that they base all of the like Silence of the Lambs stuff on. It's like a true story. But he
is
has
that what he
voice. It sounds
does?
big.
Oh my God. See, I didn't watch that because I know Ed Gein's whole, like I know what he was doing and I knew it was gonna like scare the crap out of me, and so I didn't watch it. Ew, that
good.
gives me the
You gotta watch it.
EBGBs. Ugh, yuck. Okay, anyway.
Yeah. So like fair enough. One thing I did kind of like unrelated to my call, but the last caller kind of mentioned it, where like he thinks the United States can just pull back and allow people to like sing Kumbaya. That's definitely not going to happen, because as soon as we pull back, other countries, like I'm not a hawk against China, maybe more against Russia, but like they are just waiting for us to pull back, and so they can, you know, spread their tentacles even farther. But I digress. Kind of like at the original point about like the Christian nationalism. Well, first, I'm an atheist, and I do see a big problem with Christian nationalism. But one of the, like, I think the biggest issue, and I don't think you guys have even talked about it as far as I've heard, is money in politics, dark money, corporate capture. It seems that everything, or almost everything that Trump has done is directly tied to corporate money, to dark money and interest. I do not think he would have even been on the stage with Hillary Clinton if it wasn't for his ability to fundraise, you know, to draw these corporations into him. He attracts views, and you guys run a YouTube channel, so you kind of know the view kind of market economy. It drives money. So like that is more of a major issue to me. And I kind of like don't hear you guys talking about it, and it's been it's been going on for quite some time.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but I also think that the Christian nationalism thing is used as a tool to get there, because I feel like that also played a big role in him getting elected. Ever since the moral majority was formed of evangelicals deciding they're going to elect like the conservative president or whatever. I think it was with whenever they decided Jimmy Carter wasn't a true Christian or whatever, and they were going to get a conservative in. I think that also led to a lot of funds going to those kind of candidates, and obviously not all of it. I do agree with what you're saying. I just think that the evangelicalism is used as a tool to get certain things. And then I think that can also help with the money aspect. But I agree that that's their main thing. I think that's obviously what they care about the most. And I don't think Trump gives a shit about Christian nationalism. I think he just knows that it benefits him.
Okay. So in your view, is it like if one was the match and the other one is like gasoline, do you think Christian nationalism is more the gasoline, or do you think it is like the the founding principle for this? Or you may have just said, I kind of like missed
No,
the
I
last
think
part of what you said.
I think that's a good question. I honestly would have to think about it because I feel like it's
Okay.
really hard. I feel like it's really, really hard for me to know and like weigh all that stuff, to be honest. But I do think they're becoming so intertwined with each other where people like now evangelicals even have it in their head that like capitalism is what God wants. How did we get here? I don't know. And like that they don't believe that we should be helping people who need it, like through SNAP benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, whatever. It's weird because their politics are becoming their religion. It's so intertwined you can't even separate the two. So I think that ends up, obviously that ends up helping out all of the greedy rich bastards on top.
But Matthew,
Do
I do
you think-
understand. Sorry, go ahead. I want you to ask
go
your
ahead.
question because you have really interesting questions. You
Oh.
go first.
Fair
I'll
enough.
remember mine. I'll
Yeah,
remember
I was
mine.
gonna say, do you think that I guess like in my own mind, I've seen corporations assume the rights, or rather be given the rights by the Supreme Court as people. So like when corporations are ruled to be able to do everything that we can do, as far as just appear in court as a defendant or as a plaintiff, that was kind of not part of the founding documents and later given to them. When they can exercise speech, when they can, the same way that we can. It seems to be a direct line from giving them some rights to giving them the ability to spend money in politics. Do you think, or would you guys be in favor of limiting the amount of money that an individual can give to politicians or spend in politics, and completely stopping corporations from spending money? Or is that something you would not like to do?
It's a good question.
I think in theory, I think it would be great, but there are some. I think it's tough because I think that there probably are some corporations who do it in good faith that are trying to support campaign. Like this is so stupid, but what I'm thinking of is like Ben and Jerry's. It's like if Ben and Jerry could put money towards a candidate that was like a grassroots kind of campaign, then like that would be life changing for that campaign, and that person's entire platform could be completely different and may have like reach that is completely different and in a stratosphere that they couldn't have done without them. So it's hard for me to say no completely. However, what I was going to say before too is I understand the sort of panicky nature around it because it doesn't always feel like it's in the forefront of the conversation that all of our politics are motivated by money. Everyone has their hands in each other's pockets in a way that is sort of like when I think about how we learned about our government and checks and balances when we were in like middle school, and it makes me laugh because I'm like, oh, well, none of that's real. No, guess what? None of it's real because everyone is just paying off each other, and it's all just under the table.
The reason I hesitate to even give an answer is because we just live in a capitalist society. So I just don't know like what like I feel like obviously there should be specific things in place so it isn't, but then at the same time there's no anything stopping Trump from making a ton of money himself and making his friends a ton of money right now. So I'm just like, there should be something in place.
There is the emoluments clause, where you should not. I mean, it's in the Constitution where you can't profit off the presidency. It's just whether or not Congress has the votes, to bring it. Like they can bring the impeachment over the emoluments clause, but it will never get passed. Like he will never be convicted and removed. They just don't have the votes. And so even if they win a lot of seats in the midterms, it's probably unlikely that they could bring in articles of impeachment, but he probably, same thing that happened last time. So it's like
Yeah.
there is a path. You know, he shouldn't be. There is the emoluments clause there, and what he's doing. You know, if there's ever an investigation, that it's probably highly in violation of that. But it's like it's almost a non-starter politically.
Yeah, because they also Trump wants it to be okay for churches to like preach politically at the pulpit, and any donations giving to the church can be donated to different candidates and stuff. And that's obviously fucked up because that money's also tax exempt. It's discouraging. It's like discouraging because it's also corrupt and it feels like no one is ever going to be held accountable. And it's really horrifying to, obviously at Trump's inauguration, to see all of the richest people just surrounding him. Yeah, it's horrifying. But it feels like...
Yeah, and that's another... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, it feels like nobody is doing anything about it.
It's in their best interest. I mean, the stock market, last time I checked, was doing pretty well. So it's kind of, and the corporations, you know, these people, they make the laws. Like they hire lobbyists. Sometimes they even write the laws. And so like it is in their best interest to keep the ship moving as it is now. There's no real benefit to giving power back to regular people.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That is,
it's kind of gross that that's where we're at, but I think it's a little bit of where we've always been at.
Right.
I mean, maybe you guys can educate me. I'm sorry to like dominate the microphone. There's a little bit of a delay, but
I agree with everything you are saying. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what exactly, because I'm also not like, I feel like I'm not super educated when it comes to funding of how all of that works and what the regulations are and stuff like that. So it's hard for me to even, I don't want to give strong opinions on stuff that I don't fully understand, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then have it immortalized on the internet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Because someone in the comments was like, how could you say no to that question? The reason I don't give a yes or no answer right away is because I feel like it's over my head at this point, that I'm not exactly sure what goes all into that. Therefore, I need to dig deeper into that. But it is important. So I think that's definitely something I should look into. So I appreciate you bringing that up because it's definitely a really important thing to understand, I think. And I could do better at understanding it.
I implore you to. Democratic socialism is kind of where I'm at. I think people should have the power as much as possible, and we should trust that, you know.
Yeah.
People that are not indoctrinated, given good education, you know, they should be able to make the best decision they can for themselves and how they see it, rather than people. I mean, rather than corporations dictating. But can I say one more thing? It was kind of the other point of the show about how do you get people to come to their senses, or should you try, or can you?
Let it rip, Matthew.
Okay, fair enough. Essentially, like, is there hope that people can come to their senses? Yes, there's always hope. How you get there, though, it's hard. It's education, it's patience, and it's just talking to people. So, like, the deplorables, the bad people that you think are, for lack of a better term, you know, like trash humans that don't have empathy, you have to talk to them as if they do have empathy, you know? There's an example of this, a guy named Daryl Davis, who was like a musician. He was a black man who like went to KKK members, and over time he's had great success getting them to deconvert, to get themselves out of the KKK. And I hate to give publicity to someone like Joe Rogan, but he went on the Joe Rogan show and kind of explained it. It's well worth the watch. His name is Daryl Davis. But talking to people that you really don't think there's common ground with is really the only way. Education.
So what changed his mind?
So like he was just a black man. He wasn't in the KKK, but his whole like, I guess, impetus for doing it was that he was a black jazz musician in Maryland, which has a lot of KKK influence. And it was like a white-only bar. And so someone from the KKK came up, showed him his card, and was like, I didn't know black people could play the piano like that. And from there, it went on to like tens of like probably like, I don't want to like, over exaggerate, but let's say like 30 members of the KKK at least, and it's documented online, and you can listen to him speak. And his name is Daryl Davis, and that was a very uplifting story that two kind of diametrically opposed groups in the United States can sit down, talk, and come to an agreement. We don't have to.
Yeah.
Without this, it's there's violence. So it's like, what do you want?
I think it's like I've said this before. There are many such cases where if you're trying to solve the problem, and we're trying to do this in like a goal-oriented approach, like we just want to get people to see things more clearly. I don't think it's going to happen by calling everyone who voted for Trump a fucking idiot. Like, like it's just not, it's just not like, why would they leave? Why would they leave and come to a place where they're being so heavily criticized? That being said, it's hard not to do when you see how destructive all of this is. So I understand both sides of it, because I also, I, like you, am wanting to find a way to do this and get through to people by logic and reason. And, but the other part of it too that's really challenging is when you are having conversations with people who are super in the like MAGA world, they are taking in a completely different set of facts. So even like their reality is completely different. So like you could be explaining to them, you can't be whatever. You can explain to them that blue states fund red states. So it's important that the blue states are able to keep their taxes where they are, and they actually do fund most of these red states that need it. So whatever. You could explain that to them. You could also explain to them the way that voting works does not mean that I'm sure you've seen these maps that MAGA will share that make it look like everyone voted for Trump. It's like you can explain that kind of stuff to them, but I think that they're so inundated, and this is thanks to the algorithms that we have. They're so inundated with information that validates what they are seeing, and this is true of like what happens on our side too, but they're so inundated with it that they will never concede. Like it's like even when Renee Good was murdered, that like fake rap sheet that was going around that had a date that didn't make sense. Her birth date didn't make sense. It also was completely fake and looked like a Google form. But in any case, they were so sure that that was real that it actually didn't matter that it wasn't, because like you could tell them until you were blue in the face that it's not real. Look at the date of the birthday at the top, like that her name is not right. Like it was so clearly not, but they just they're so, I don't know. They live in like a completely different world, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's very much you're battling generational ignorance. Unfortunately, I don't have like a better term, but especially, I don't know where you guys are at, but I live in like the South, North Carolina, and it's very much like a place that has never had quality education in most of the state. And so like one thing I was kind of just kind of what's the term when you have evidence but it's your own personal experience?
Anecdotal?
There's a term, anecdotal evidence. So it is anecdotal evidence, and a little bit of hearsay, but this kind of shocked me because I was born in the North. I moved to North Carolina and found out that one of the education schools, the teachers were segregating themselves by race. And so like what hope do the students have to learn when their teachers don't even cooperate with each other? They can't sit down and have lunch because of who they are, like what they look like. And so this is in 2025, 2024. And so like generational ignorance in places that like the people aren't at fault there for most of the case. At some point it does become willful ignorance. But when you've been indoctrinated so long, like, these are places that they'll call it the war of northern aggression. and they try to say that slavery wasn't a major part of the Civil War. So I don't really know how I mean, I get what you're saying, where it's hard not to be upset when you face these levels of delusions, I would say. But one thing that brings it back to giving them kind of space to talk it out is the idea that not everybody has the same education. Not everybody is born at the same starting.
That's something I wanted to talk about when it comes to people changing their minds. Is I feel like the biggest way people are able to change their minds is with exposure to whatever that thing is. And some people don't learn unless it's some kind of firsthand experience. And it's frustrating because if you know somebody who has very hateful and awful beliefs, you can't force them to have the experience of actually interacting with people who are different than them. You can't force them to be open to new information. And that's why they very much demonize college and things like that, because obviously kids will go off to college and they are exposed to diversity, and it changes their mind because they're no longer going off of this secondhand thing they're told about these groups of people that they've never had any experience with. And then they'll have experience with different people and they're like, okay, they were lying. They don't know what they're talking about because they're not even around these people. And that was a realization I had in my early 20s when I was never MAGA, but I was obviously Christian and conservative, whatever that meant at the time. And the number one thing that changed my mind so quickly was just being around different people than me. And it was, like I was in a town, all white, all straight presenting, because that's a big deal if you're gay or anything. So it's really easy for people in those areas to just stay in those areas, because it's interesting. My family members who are like that, they never left those areas. It's not a coincidence that they kept their same beliefs and staying in that area. They're not exposed to literally anything else. It's really frustrating because you really want them to have those experiences and to understand. But also it's frustrating because at this point, I have a really hard time having patience or empathy for them. But what I will say is I am very happy anytime I see a video of somebody saying they're leaving MAGA, and people are very quick to dogpile on them and shit on them. And I understand where that's coming from. But at the same time, I'm like, if you really, really want, if you actually want change, when these people decide to change, you need to accept that and you need to be okay with that. And a lot of people, and I understand it's at an all-time high and it's so hard, but I think that is one really important thing too, for people to know, if I change my mind, I can join this group of people, or these people will accept that I've changed. I think that's a really important thing to leave the door open with. The people who are not interested in it at all, I have a harder time with, because I'm like, what? When it's gone this far. Yeah, exactly. When it's gone this far, it's kind of like accepting defeat of well, you're not going to change unless you decide you want to, because a lot of these people don't even care about factual information because they're so heavily ingrained into conspiracy theories, and a lot of them aren't even living in the same reality as I am. So it's really hard for me to have conversations with them that even make sense. But yeah, it's a really hard topic, and I feel like I'm still figuring it out every single day, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, what you said reminds me of, I mean, it's just the anecdote of the Republican, congressman, senator who's bashing gay people until he has a gay son. And then he's like, oh, gay people aren't so bad. And then it's like, oh, couldn't you've got this answer much faster the right way? Everybody was screaming at you. Trying to get you to the light, and it's in your own.
They either go that way or they disown their child. So that it sometimes I feel like people have certain breaking points, and they either double down even harder and become more hateful and more bitter, or they start to say, hey, maybe there's more to this than what I've been told and what I've been indoctrinated into.
I definitely agree with that. I think I was kind of exhausted by the questions I had. I think you guys, I think we found some good levels of agreement. I kind of want to push back because it seems not push back, but I guess challenge you guys. Because so like we've kind of advocated for changes I think we would like to see, and like or where the country should go and how we should do things, but I don't really see, other than just like suing the Trump administration, I don't see any like a large or really any coalition of people coming together to be like, we treat people with human decency. we want to spread love and peace. I don't really see that. It's more so just people protesting, which there's a place for that, and suing the government where there's a place for that, where there seems to be no community building at all.
So, for you, what would that look like?
That's also a good point. I would say places, they don't have to be physical places, although physical places would help. That, you can come together and there's people that may not have the same mind as you, but you can come and congregate, like a public square.
Yeah.
That's kind of another issue I have, is that America has kind of given up the public square. There's not many places where you can just go and be, where you can just have like a tea or coffee and talk to your neighbor.
Yeah. No,
Like building those spaces.
I heavily agree that community is something we've lost because we've become so individualistic, and volunteering in different ways can be so beneficial. And also, in my experience, gives you some kind of hope to keep going and stay positive that there can be a better future for people. No, I agree with that. I don't think we have enough of that. But I do know during periods of my life, volunteering at different places, that was the most connected I ever felt to people, obviously around me. And that was the most hopeful I felt for anything, because you're interacting, you see so many bad stories constantly, and there are a lot of bad stories, but there's also a lot of really good people. And I think it's hard to remember that when you're not interacting with a lot of them. So no, I do agree with you on that for sure.
That's actually a sentiment that I know NPR is a bad word for some conservatives now, but but I heard a story about on NPR where they were talking about that, how we need to remind people of how beautiful humans can be. Right now, there's a lot of chaos in the world, a lot of violence, and a lot of, like you said, just bad news stories that make you sad, depressed. But humans have great capacity to do evil and to do good. And so right now we're kind of losing that battle, it seems like. But there is hope, through education, patience, and talking. I think we can do it. It's just whether or not we have the ability to pick ourselves up, lick our wounds, and not give in to the other side.
I agree with all of that, but one thing I wanted to mention was it sucks because we're in such a specific issue where ICE is causing people to be even more individualistic and not it's not their fault, but stay in their homes, not go, it's causing so many problems as far as people building community. And I was actually just listening to somebody talk about that the other day, about how so many people are just afraid. And I think that heavily impacts people's ability to want to get involved in community and feel safe in their own environment. So it's really unfortunate. I still think we should be trying to do that, but it sucks that is working against that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's something that's touched myself. Just like, I'm an American citizen. I was born in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, though, because my dad was an Army soldier. He was stationed there. And so, and I am Hispanic. So I look white passing. So even with me, I mean, my birth certificate is from Cuba, even though I'm an American citizen. It's even me. It's like, with the wrong regime, how quickly things can change, and how quickly the government can lose your passport, how quickly they can forget your name. And then it's like, you get put in alligator Alcatraz, and who knows who's there.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
yeah.
is there anything else?
Everything.
Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap for the evening?
No, not if you're asking me. I've got nothing. I'm just chilling with you guys.
All right, then we're gonna let you go. We're gonna read super chats. I'm gonna make a baked ziti and go to bed. That's my plan for the evening. Thank you so much for
Guys, have a
calling,
good night.
Matthew. You
Thanks
too.
for calling. Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was a good call to end on.
Yeah, way more hopeful than the other stuff we heard all night. That's crazy. Okay, shall we get to super chats?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. Lux is also laughing at me because I get so tired at the end of our shows, and she's like, "It's 3 hours earlier." And
yeah, what the heck? You're not adjusted yet.
Well, and I also just, if the sun goes down, then I just realized I used the wrong pronoun. Sorry, Lux. That was my bad. But if I use the wrong, or if the sun is going down, I'm going to bed. My brain is slowly shutting down.
And that's what sucks about winter. It's 4 p.m. and I'm like, okay, I lay in bed now. No, and I can't.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, all right, let's do our super chats. $5 from Joshua Everett, 9887. I have no brain cells left. Internet in certain portions of the country has been really weak and spotty for the past 3 weeks. I wonder if that, the internet here has been really weird and spotty, and I thought maybe it was just our internet being weird, but I guess if it's happening all over the place, maybe
solar radiation, the aurora right now.
Oh
my gosh! And then a lot of people are going to get a massive snowstorm soon. So
yeah, I know, it's crazy,
including me. $5 from Alyssa Silverbill. Taylor, are you okay? Stay perfectly still. Okay, help is on the way. Don't panic. Yeah, some of those were really embarrassing. It's okay. I'm so glad it went away. I just was like messing with stuff, and honestly, I think my cord was twisted in a way where it just wasn't working, because once I fixed that, it just was fine. So
$5, but you know what? But the tech had to fuck with you for a little bit first,
yeah,
which I love.
We don't believe in
$5
God. This is how we get tested.
Exactly.
Oh my God! Wait, actually, speaking of that, last night when I was like having a meltdown because I thought we were gonna have to remove Bonnie's eye, I literally was laying in bed and I said to myself, and I haven't done this in, I can't even remember the last time, but I was just like really not in a good place with it, and I was like, if God is real, this will be a situation.
Just do this and I'll believe in you.
Yeah, exactly. If God is real, then I will. Then we're gonna go and everything's gonna be fine. They're gonna give me an eye drop when we came home, and we'll come home. The way that we got an eye drop and came home, I was like, shit.
It's like people asking God to find their keys, kind of.
Yeah,
but
that's
way more
exactly.
But that's way more serious though. When
higher
I was
stakes.
When I was like at the very tail end of being a Christian, I would do that shit all the time. I'd be like, if you're real, do this. If you're real, do this.
Yeah. Oh my God. I felt like such a dumb one when it actually, whatever. Anyway.
And you're like, JK.
Yeah, exactly. Just kidding. $5 from the atheist mechanic. If it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, sorry, but I've never heard of a duck shout HH. Yeah. I wish they were ducks.
$5 from Melatonin. My niece daycare does some stupid Christian song prayer before their lunch. My cousin said she just did it randomly at home, and it's not a religious daycare. Yeah, there's religion put into so many different things. I think last week we talked about it being put into AA. It's just, it's weird and annoying.
$5 from God's Sinner. Marlon is one of the most depressing frequent callers, grown in a culture that has been beat into loving their abusers. From Cara Kell. Yeah. He does kind of make me sad.
Isn't he the one who is like, yeah, something about like he recognized Christianity wasn't good, but he was just raised that way or something?
Yeah, like he that's sort of like where he always lands, is at some point he's like, well, everyone here is Christian and this is how I was raised. And it's like, okay, but like, can you have an independent thought? Can you have just like a thought that's not because that's what they told you?
I think
that's
it might literally be physically dangerous for him in the Philippines if he were to stop believing. So yeah, but
he
stop
did
calling.
say that.
Yeah,
I know
right.
that's what I'm saying. Because when the first time he said that, I was like, yeah, no, I totally understand why you wouldn't tell anybody you don't believe. But then I was like, wait, why do you call and argue for it? I don't know. $5. Alice and Dr. Pepper, Christmas and Easter are all still in pagan holidays, they are not Christian holidays.
Yeah.
I love it when Christians get mad at me for celebrating Christmas because I'm like, do something about it. I don't give a fuck.
And what?
Yeah, exactly.
1999 from Narcissa 800. Marlon sounds innocuous, but he's a repeat idiot who would commit repeat atrocities. Yeah, and you know what? And you're right. And you're right.
$5 from Ali, Shauna Silverbow. What was the name again? Was it Ravi? I don't
Yeah,
know.
Ruby. I
Ruby.
think.
Your bigotry is showing. That's embarrassing for you.
Yeah. Yeah. $20 from Zelda's phone battery. That's a funny name. Rush Die is still alive. Someone needs to tell him he was murdered because I don't think he knows. Because I don't think he knows.
Who was that?
I don't
Salman
know.
Rushdie, who Ruby brought up.
Oh. He was. Oh, yes. He's like 80 something years old, right? Is this that guy?
For some reason,
78. Sorry.
That reminds me, someone the other day told me that Richard Dawkins was burning in hell, and I'm like, bro, I'm pretty sure he's still alive.
He is. He is also still alive. He's like in his 80s.
It's like wrong famous atheist.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yay.
$5 from Meg801. Apparently, Ravi has zero clue how much muck duck happens in the US. Is that supposed to mean something? I don't know. From his side of the aisle. What does that mean?
I guess just like for lack of a less aggressive term, fuck shit, you know? Muck
I've never
duck,
heard
fuck
that.
shit. $5 from Sapphic Hazard. Ruby is a liar. Salman Rushdie is literally still alive. T. I love when the chat calls people out like that.
$5 from V Draws. Here, have $5 for dealing with this crap. Thanks.
Thanks. Oh my gosh. £5 from Willow's Worldview. As someone who lives in the tropical city of Birmingham, I can confirm that Ruby is talking out of his a-hole. Hashtag Team Lux.
Team Lux, you better represent because the mugs are still in the store. Linemerch.com.
$5 from Sorizin 2927. The idea that Islam was spread through the sword is purely hateful one because you have to ignore the Christian violence that has shaped history. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I mentioned that even if people don't see it so like in such a direct way or whatever, it's like, yeah, but that depends on place and time because they have been that way before. So what makes people think that that will never happen again? So, yeah.
Also, sorry, I see in the chat that muck duck is intentional unaliving because we can't say the actual word.
I feel like this is one of those stupid TikTok things, which guys, there's
don't-
already a word for this. It's called red rum. Oh my God, get with it.
I was gonna say when I do YouTube videos, I say I say all the words. The only and I stopped censoring myself on TikTok too because I'm like whatever, and nothing has happened. So I feel like maybe we did this to ourselves. I don't know.
On YouTube, at least you just have to say I discussed this topic in a non-sensational manner, and then you're cleared. So yeah,
that makes sense.
$5 Canadian from Sad Tech Geek. Can Ruby name a single policy in the US that came from Islam or a Muslim politician? I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, no. The answer is no. He could not. That call was so stupid.
I know. It truly was. $5 from Mr. Boriqua. Oh my gosh. 10. Ravi capricious, condescending, dismal, dull, dishonest, dense, irritating, miniature beast of burden. Way to fight for last place, dude. That is funny. That is a funny comment.
I love that. That's great. $10 from Joshua Everett. Instead of thanking any gods, I thank others depending on the category. Thank Al Gore for technology working correctly. Thank Joe Pesci for good luck. Thank Aquaman for deliverance from danger. That's awesome. I love that.
I saw
I'll have
someone in
to
the
think of
chat
them.
say, "Thank Glob" from
Yeah,
Adventure Time, and I really need to start using that.
I like Thank Glob. That's good.
$10 from Legally Mod. I had my 18-year-old cat, Rascal, put down on Saturday. I'm so sorry. He was in constant pain due to his age and probably had cancer. So I have him a quick, comfortable exit. I'm not okay this week. I will be. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I was literally just thinking today, when all the pets I have now pass away, I'm like, am I really going to get more pets? It's so painful, but
yeah,
pets are also great. I don't know.
I know. When I went to part of this whole ordeal with Bonnie that like made it so awful was I went to an emergency vet last night because my vet was like, you need to just check her eye pressure and whatever. So I went to the emergency vet. Do you know who's at the emergency vet? Fucking the worst things you've ever seen. There was
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, like when I walked in, they had a room. I don't know why. It's like close to the lobby, and it's like if this light is on, there's a goodbye in progress. And I hear someone wailing. I know.
Oh, I guess it's maybe to let people know, but oh my gosh, that's
I hear this girl wailing, and I was like, I was like, and then so that was like horrible, horrible, horrible. And then later they get a phone call and like the receptionist picks up the phone and she hangs up and she goes, there's so a dog that was hit by a car and they're coming in. And I was like, I can't. And it's like, I don't want to make it about myself because obviously they're having the worst day of their lives, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, one of the worst days of their lives. But that's like so traumatizing to me because I'm so emotional
you also
about
know like oh, that could be me, or one day, I'll be that sad because like I remember watching people at my vet, I watched them like cry or whatever, and then like weeks later I was crying because I was bringing the body of my one guinea pig and I was like sobbing and I was like, damn, this sucks. We have to like watch each other. So
sucks.
Anyways, I'm going to a dark space.
yeah. Anyway, Maud, we're so sorry, and I hope that you're gonna feel it.
Yeah,
it won't be this painful forever, but I'm so sorry. It's horrible.
I don't know if it's me or you.
I think it's me. I don't know. 5 pounds from Jessica87. On my way to Finland to see my fiance Linda. So excited to go back to my second home and my love. I love your mug, Taylor. # Discord Lives Matter.
What is Discord Lives Matter? What
I don't know. I don't know.
Jimmy doesn't like the fact that we have a community Discord. He thinks it's a terrible thing for a YouTuber to have, and so he ignores it. And that's why all the Discord Lives Matter people are like, we have a good time in the Discord. We like it.
That's funny that you say that because I used to have a Discord and I deleted it because I was like, I feel like I have no control over this Discord and I don't know what's going on. And it's like under my name. So I'm deleting this.
Jimmy has said similar things to me about like people have asked before to make a Discord channel for people who are like single and want to like find each other. And he was like, I cannot emphasize enough how bad of an idea that is. And I was like,
I would not do that.
You are right. But Jessica, so excited for you. Keep us updated. 10 Canadian dollars from Pure Form 42. I think any extremist group using religion to lead will be horrible, oppressive, and harmful to many. How to make fascism. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
$5 from Alyssa Nguyen. The enemy of my enemy is another person who might try to knife me in my sleep. Anthony Mackie as TACIS. I don't know what that is. Altered Carbon season 2. I've never heard of this. Is it a show? I'm guessing.
Gotta be. If it has seasons, it's gotta be. 5 pounds for Mystic Mind Analysis. The Netflix Ed Gein thing is not very historically accurate and is actually pretty transphobic. # team semi-Italian person. I think that's what it is. Semi-Italian. I think so.
I don't know what Ed Gein is.
Ed Gein. I thought he was a serial killer. Someone in the chat was saying that he only had like one confirmed death. But he would like make furniture out of people's skin. Like he made a lampshade out of someone's skin.
Oh, I definitely feel like I've heard of something like
Also,
that.
this is based off of like my pop culture reference of Ed Gein. I used to really like true crime and like watching serial killer docs and stuff like that. I don't know what happened, but like when I turned 30, I like can't handle it. Like I can't.
Yeah, I think it does something to people's like, I don't know. I feel
Like,
like
I'm
it's
not
not
gonna watch
healthy
that.
the
Yeah.
amount we like consume, because I have in the past before too.
Yeah, I'm simply never gonna watch the Ed Gein thing.
And then just the thought of, oh, we're making entertainment from people. Oh my gosh, just it's
not a fan.
bad.
Not for me.
Anyway, getting into all the good topics.
I know, really. Keeping it light.
$5 from Bobby Kingston, 7240. Been a while. It's great to see how Taylor is so confident as a host now. Oh, thank you. And is on fire with these calls, and always great to see Alyssa. All the best. Thank you.
Hi, Bobby. Nice to see you. Welcome back. $10 from Joshua Everett. I've been mentioned it a few times in the past weeks, but I work in staffing, and our new annual forecast told us to expect the worst job market since the 1970s. It will get worse before better. When is it gonna get better?
I know. I see people all the time talking about how hard they try to get jobs, and
oh my God,
it's so
it's brutal,
horrifying.
Brutal.
$5 from Space Barbarian 3484. I wish people were less sensitive about being called fucking idiots. Have you ever seen the look at the size of the human brain compared to reality? Yeah, okay. I have to admit something. I've become a lot more mean in the past couple months. I don't leave a lot of hate comments, but I'll leave those like picture reactions on like MAGA videos where it'll be like it's like that guy from what's his freaking name? The guy from Always Sunny.
Charlie?
Danny DeVito, and he has a boot, and he's like, so anyways, I started licking, and so I just comment that on like literally everything. I feel like I'm a little mean, but I just don't care.
I think it's just like it being on the internet and being perceived on the internet hardens you.
It does. It makes me a worse person.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like it makes like I don't know. And also, for what it's worth, I agree with the commenter. And I think that people should be more okay with being called fucking idiots. You want to know why? Because it's funny. So, £5 from Herbie Shine, 1312. Ruby is lying about the extent of a Muslim problem in the UK. These people buy into a lie and repeat it. It's the same shit here. It's the same thing here. Just they're a different boogeyman.
$5 from Chase Firth, 8962. The single biggest turning point for elections in the USA was FEC versus Citizens United, aka corporations are people can give unlimited speech. Yeah, that is fucked up.
Yeah, it is fucked up.
No, yeah, I don't think that should be a thing.
$10 from President Starscream. I think the reason MAGA hate woke media is that they're afraid if they hear the stories of people different from them, they might accidentally develop some empathy, which of course would be a sin. Yeah, I think that's probably
I think about all the time how if we only had conservative media, how fucking boring it would be. It would be fucking, we would be in hell if we only had conservative media. It's so bad. Or $10 from Rory 7590. Come to
New Zealand.
New Zealand. Oh, nobody can find us on the map. On the map in a world war.
That's really funny. My fiance is going to New Zealand in like a week and a half or something. He's going to Australia and New Zealand to play some shows. Yeah.
You're not joining for that vacation?
Girl, like no. In no way.
I've always wanted to go to Australia. But it would be like that. Traveling would be brutal. Brutal.
Literally, I can't do the travel. My dogs are insane. One of them is being crate trained. The other one apparently has a fucking eyeball that's gonna come out. I need to be in one place.
I did want to say that my one cousin, she had a dog and both of her eyes had to be removed, but she was like still happy, but she just couldn't rearrange like furniture and stuff.
I know, it's hard. It would have been fine. But I'm sure it'll be a nice time. I need to like be in one place because really LA has a way of like taking my ass and handing it to me every time I'm here. So I'm just trying to survive. $10 from Green Man Dave. Thank you, God, for fixing the cataracts of Sam's mom. Tim Minchin. Yeah, that's how I felt with Bonnie.
$5 from Space Barbarian 3484. An earlier Marlin call gave me a heartache because he couldn't share his questions and doubts with others. I'm glad he can hear.
Yeah.
Me too. I just don't fully understand him, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, we're done. Oh,
Yay.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Lux, for producing, and Dragon for screening. Thank you to all our mods.
Oops, I forgot one. Hold on.
Oop. Okay, $4.99 from Klee. I love you, girls. Kick some Nazi ass. Thanks, girl. Thank you so much to all of our super chatters and all the things. Our crew, our mods, our screeners, our patrons. Go to patreon.com/calltheline and linemerch.com.
Yeah, that.
That's it.
You guys go do that.
Ready for bed? I'm ready to make some pasta.
I'm gonna eat.
Yeah,
and
it's
sleep.
time.
My two favorite things.
It's time. It's time. Okay, see you next week.